Hello everyone, my name is Gavin, or at least that's what I'm calling myself, and we are live, a day later than intended, but we are live. And it has been a bit since the last stream, hasn't it? I think we did a Golden Idol DLC last Tuesday, and then we had a couple delays. Saturday, I went to see Final Destination Bloodlines in 40X, and had to be like a whole day outing because of how far away the nearest theater that did that was. Absolutely worth the money, in my opinion. Incredible movie. Absolutely loved it. As a Final Destination fan for a long time, we are so back. And just beautiful send-off to Tony Todd, obviously. Like, I heard that they actually, they had, a scripted bit for him to do, and then they just, said, you know what? We know, whatever happens, you're getting up there. You're probably not going to be making any more of these after this. We just want you to speak from the heart for this one bit and just say what you want to say to the audience here. And he knocked it out of the park. Rest in peace, King. But anyway, so intended to do this yesterday as per the schedule, obviously, but Mother Nature is a fickle mistress and not the fun kind of mistress, unfortunately. So, I had to mow the lawn last night during normal stream time because that was the only time it was not pouring rain where I am. So, speaking of... So anyway, back onto schedule. We are finally going to be starting and hopefully, if we're lucky, finishing, if we can manage it today, the final part of... the final case of Staffer Case, the detective game about magic crimes and paperwork. And also severe societal injustice. Yeah, last one of these was a doozy, wasn't it? If you were there, you know. If not, you'll probably pick up some stuff along the way. Anyway, let's dive into this. And, also, bit of an update while what's on my mind. We might have some technical improvements around here soon. I've been, picking up some new gear, looking into trying out some new stuff. Maybe my mic won't... I'll be able to nudge some stuff with my mic so that it's not cutting off random bits of my voice whenever I get too loud or it decides I'm part of the background noise. Fingers crossed. Anyway, let's do this. Wait, no, not load. That'll load us into the last case. We gotta hit new game. Oh, almost forgot to turn on the desktop audio. That would have been a disaster. You gotta remind me when I do that, remember, if you're listening out there, because I remember that one Lorelei stream where I didn't have audio until an hour in. That was awful. But... oh, there's side stories. I'm not going to do those because I'm lazy. But, let's begin. To the Inspector of the Akimbo Investigations Agency. Ma'am, this is Notrick writing. I arrived in London without incident. It's after I arrived that the incidents started piling up. I almost got kicked out of the office for not being a staffer. I'm regretting not looking up more about this place before setting out. Thankfully, they decided not to kick me out of the building and threw me straight into a murder investigation instead. There was a murder at a circus located in a place called Trump Tower. And boy did we make jokes about that. The victim was the ringleader, and the suspects were none other than his 3 employees. Everyone from the victim to the suspects were staffers. There was the clown Julia Geller, the magician Frederick Vernon, the acrobat Oz Aston, and the victim ringleader John Henry Houdin. In the end, the murderer turned out to be... Yep, I remember hearing about this. They make us pick out the killer in each case so we can prove that we actually solved them. None other than the clown, Julia Geller. She fooled everyone about her skill in order to remain at the circus, leading to her being assaulted by the ringleader. However, her reason for murdering the victim was because he was intending to sell the circus. Oh yeah, obviously, if you missed the last couple streams, consider this a refresher. Or however many streams of this game we've done. 4 streams, obviously, because we've been doing a case of stream. Anyway, For the troop members of Trump Tower, the circus wasn't just a job, it was the only community they could belong to. After all, they're staffers. In London, the Bureau assigns threat ratings to all staffers, putting limits on how they can live their lives, and now I'm part of that very organization. I solved the case, yet I find the doubts growing larger in my mind. I plan to find out why I'm here exactly and scout out my path forward. October 30th, 1960X, Notrick case. Okay. Inspector, it's been a while, but this is Notrick writing you. I'm sorry I haven't been able to write. Work has really been piling up around here. Most of my job involves handling the paperwork and reviewing documents, but the sergeant does take me to a few crime scenes now and again. Today I solved a crime at a rather interesting facility. Inspector, have you heard about— oh god, I forgot that's what they call them. Have you heard about creatures? They're the animals that have been mutated by phenomena. The facility we investigated was a place called Woods that tended to creatures. The CEO of the company was actually eaten by one of the creatures they keep there. Please stop saying creatures. Our suspects were the people who worked there. Vice President Nine Beck, mammal handler Kendrick Howes, and reptile handler Lisa Moko, whose voice I will not be doing because all I remember about her voice is that it killed my throat. The person who planned out the murder, the goat, Kendrick Hawes, the mammal specialist. He has the ability to control mammals, and that includes humans as well. He used all the people of that facility like chess pieces, with checkmate being the death of the victim. Everything to serve out the justice his dogma led him to believe was correct. During this case, I saw my colleagues in a new light. I also realized once more just how little I know of the people of my division. For example, I learned that one of them is Canadian and also a crazy murderer. Everyone has a different central belief that drives them to do this job. Do you think there will come a day when I form one too? Right now, my central belief is, don't leave me in a room unattended with Thena. Inspector, I've got rather embarrassing news to write about this time. I made a huge mistake during today's case. This morning, they found a body at a mansion near that theater I wrote about before, and it was in a rather interesting state. The body had been cut in half, vertically. I don't even believe you've seen a body in such a state. This is the one I called, and I am never going to stop bragging about that. The victim was a collector of staff, and it was the staff that killed him. Specifically, the staff that sent half of his body back in time 7 hours in the past. Or however many hours it was. We talked to the wife of the victim, Ellie Miller, and his good friend, Willie Montague. For the information we got from Montague, we located a staff merchant who goes by the name Zad Varing. In the end, the person who contributed the most to the victim's death was... Okay, I was worried he was going to make us pick between the victim and his wife, because that one was an accident, but I guess technically Elle contributed the most. Elle Miller, the victim's wife. She didn't know the triggers of the staff in the storage shed, leading to her accidentally activating one and killing the victim. The victim didn't tell his wife about his staff because Mrs. Miller wasn't interested in knowing. I don't really understand it, but it seems they figured there was a way they could keep their marriage going. I made a lot of mistakes during this case. Because of my own dogmatic view of the world, a colleague of mine almost got hurt. If I'd only kept my calm as usual, we would have been able to figure out a safer way to solve this case. Why did I let myself act out of impatience like that? It might be because I can't stand the thought of anyone besides me having to suffer. December 10th, 1960X, Notrick case. Inspector, I felt a pressing need to write to you today. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'll actually send this letter, though. We solved another case today. I can't fill you on the specifics, but I hope you'll understand. We went to another facility to investigate the crime. One of the people there died in the most mysterious of ways. The victim lived close to a white-haired woman and a blonde-haired man. There was also a child among our suspects. Our prime suspect turned out to be... I feel this is tricky because she was the one who actually did the murder, but he was technically the most responsible. As gruesome as it sounds, it was the kid, just as clueless as ever. I can't tell you how he did what he did, but he still has no idea what his actions led to back there. And now that I figured out what he's done, he's going to pay with his life. I saved the world, though. I've discovered my purpose in this life, but I'm still not sure it's the right thing to do or not. I hope there will come a day when I can properly explain all of this. Anyway, I've got documents to finish today, so I'll end my letter with this. By the time this letter arrives, it may already be the new year. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, ma'am. December 24th, 1960X. Notrick case. Alright, let's see how this goes. Notrick case. 22-1N Dartford Road, London. Ooh, we're getting something new. From Greenfield Akimbo of the Akimbo Detective Agency, December 18th, 1960X. Notrick, I've gotten each and every one of your letters. Sorry I'm only writing you back now. With each letter I get from you, I can see you're finding your footing out there, and I do believe you'll eventually find yourself. That's what I feared above all else. 10 years ago, I found you at the scene of a murder. All that hair in front of your eyes looked absolutely stifling, so I took my pen out of my pocket and pinned it out of the way, just as a temporary fix. I never in my life thought you'd still be walking around with that thing stuck in your hair. Has he never moved it, or is it just... You couldn't even read back then, but you figured out the case from the documents you saw. It was then that I knew it. Even though you're no staffer, I knew you were a special boy with superhuman abilities. After all, I knew someone else like you. I was afraid someone might use those abilities for no good, so I brought you in and raised you as my own. For 10 years, I wouldn't let you set foot in town, just so those abilities of yours wouldn't blossom. I'm not sure how I feel about this, oh, Notrick's logic skills are actually supernatural plot line, because, we're doing the logic, we're just figuring out, honestly, not that hard to figure out cases. It just kind of feels like, oh yeah, he has superhuman logic powers that are indistinguishable from normal people logic powers, but trust me, they're actually super impressive, I promise. That's what I did, but then that man came to see me this Easter. Is this your first time? Oh no, we're still in London, it's the worst timeline. Ah? Driving to work. Is this a first? Yeah, it is, but now that I'm actually doing it, it's easier than I thought. Even though you guys drive on the wrong side of the road. Well, it's easier than putting an excavator through a wall, but you still look a little nervous. That's not because of the driving. It's because of everything that happened yesterday. Why did I say all of that? Ah, it's because of me. This is the wrong way. I know. Ah, it's right there. The place we just passed was Trump Tower, right? The circus, not the other clown show. That's right. That was the first case you solved with us, huh? Yes, but they took the sign down. That they did. A while back, I took a stroll around the Miller residence with Detective Brian. Mrs. Miller doesn't live there anymore. There's a new owner. Of course. I mean, after what happened there... You're probably right. Hello, new person! Hello! Well, I'm gonna have to figure out... Welcome. Give me a second while I figure out how to do a shout-out. I've never done this before. Yeah, I'm doing good. How do we do this? Sorry, crap. I don't actually know how to do this. Give me a second. Okay, hold on a second. This is going to be very silly. I'm gonna have to look this up. Oh, there we go. Dang it, really? I thought I copied that right. There we go. Got it in the second try. Alright, anyway, welcome, new people. Glad to have you all here. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am Gavin McWario. I stream mostly horror games and puzzle games. Right now I'm doing the last chapter of like a detective game called Staffer Case that I'm hoping to finish up today if I can. But glad to have so many new faces here. Second, figure out, where was I? Yep, nice to meet you too, Miria. Note, if you go straight right here, never mind, let's go another way. Huh? Where's this parade coming from? Is there some sort of Christmas event going on? No, turn around. We're going to be late. Oh, day's going pretty good so far. Just, doing the stream a day late because I had to mow yesterday. Kinda had to work around the weather. Hope you're doing good too. No, we still got loads of time. But it's good to get there early. So... no more creature food. Yeah, they call magic creatures in this game if you missed the previous streams. It's very dumb and I make fun of it every single time. Ban it! Ban it all! Nonsense! I'm already having a hard enough time putting food on the table. How are we supposed to get by? Why pick Christmas to do all this? Are you going to take responsibility if my restaurant goes under? Is all this... Note, turn the car around. No. We still have time. Hold up a second. At least until these people pass. Oh, I've been playing it... well, that's actually complicated. This is my 5th stream playing it, and I'm on the 5th case. It's just... I started the 5th... I did the first case towards the end of December, right before I went on hiatus for a couple months to figure things out. The man said he was the chief of investigations at the Bureau, and he knew everything there was to know. He knew about your abilities and about all the sins I committed in the past. I killed someone in London before. He held that over my head as a threat. He wanted to recruit you for the Bureau. Either way, it was your wish to go to London someday, but I needed to tell you this. You may feel like this is a betrayal. If that's the case, I don't want you to forgive me. Notrick, I bet you've seen things you never wanted to lay your eyes on. Yep, I did say I play horror games earlier. Honestly, I've been playing more puzzle games lately than horror, but I do when I can, and we actually had a vote in the Discord recently, and I'm planning to start in on Crow Country on Saturday. A bunch of different. I did, Man to the Adventurer 2 was my first stream game I ever did. Had a bit of a time with that. The library puzzle right, the book scatter puzzle right at the start was hell, and they actually, apparently at some point after I beat that game, they changed that puzzle and replaced it with a simpler one because it was so awful that no one else could figure it out either, so I count that as vindication. But I've done a couple. I did Happy Hills Homicide 2 a couple weeks ago. Oh, no, I've heard good things about Phasmophobia, but I prefer single-player horror games. Like, I might play that if I had a good group, but it's not really my speed. I like more like the kind of indie horror. Usually, not so much the... generally more puzzle horror, to be honest. Still, there are things you have yet to see. Oh, congratulations! I hope that goes well for you. Things you can't see from where you are now. Things beyond the fog. Note. Mind if I break the silence? Huh? Aren't you consistent? Whenever I want to ask you something, that's always the response I get. Oh, like I said, there was a 2 month or so hiatus in there while I learned how to work some extra software, and I've had a couple breaks here and there, but I've been streaming roughly twice a week since about late October of last year. If you don't like it, phrase things so I can understand them after a single listen. And what was all that back there? If you're concerned about something, ask away. But, yeah, I will say, if you wanna join the community and, get an update on when I'm gonna be streaming and stuff, I do have a Discord server. It's linked in the About section. Feel free to hop in there. Is it that obvious? Yes, very. It's also confusing. The stuff that happened in the underground. What you said up on the roof. The letter I got from the inspector this morning. And all that we saw back there. I don't have a clear answer to any of it. Yet if I think about who's lying or who's the culprit... yeah, sure, if you want to drop onto Discord, we could talk more. Yet if I think about who's lying or who's the culprit for a single moment, I have my answer. I think that particular example only applies to you. But I know what you mean. In the end, there are problems in this world that don't have clear answers. In such cases, it's not about using your logic to find an answer. Instead, it's about making a choice. A choice. Come to think of it, when the cabinet secretary led Doug away yesterday, I couldn't get a word out. I think I just couldn't bear the sight of Doug any longer. But now that I'm really thinking about it, not just with this case, but with all the others, Well, out of all the things concerning you, I think I can give you a clear answer for one of them. Me too, note. Huh? I feel the same way. That's the answer to number 2. Number 2. Wait, what did I say before? You're quite consistent yourself, Sergeant. I should go back through the log to check on that first. I'm actually going to go back through the chat log and double check that. What was it? Oh, dang it. I'm not sure which one he's talking about. Oh, what was all that back there? Got it. Yep, I'll drop it. I'll check the request once I'm done with the stream. In the meantime, if you want to, like I said, you can drop in the Discord server. I've got linked in the About if you want. Speaking in riddles, even now. Saying whatever you want before disappearing. Where'd the sergeant run off to? There's only one way to the Mana Affairs Division. She can be a little selfish with her actions at times, saying that and then disappearing. Are you lost? Oh, hello! Nope. Just, not a new person, but thanks for the follow anyway. Oh, and that actually hits the follower goal. That's great. So that's gonna be an incentive. Guess I know what I'm gonna be starting on, next Tuesday. It means that, 25 followers, I'm going to finally do that My Friendly Neighborhood playthrough, so looking forward to that. I'm fine, I was just looking for a coworker who ditched me. Okay, good to hear. I, on the other hand, am lost. If it's alright with you, could I bother you for directions? I'm sorry, I'd love to help, but I only know my way around the investigations department. Perfect. That's exactly where I'm going. Detective, if you could lead the way to the Mana Affairs Division, I would be quite grateful. What? Well, hello, shady man I've seen in a number of cutscenes up until this point. Ooh, we've got walking animation. Quite the gentleman, too. You don't seem like you belong hanging about the bureau. That's a rather awkward compliment to be getting. Right. You said your coworker ditched you, yes? Has that happened before? Now that you mention it, the same thing happened my very first day here. I bet she's using a secret passageway. There are quite a number of them in this building. In fact, there are quite a few locations here that aren't on any floor plan. After you work here for a time, you'll fine that you start knowing a few things. If you happen to have a knack for exploring, you may come to know even more than that. Actually, that rooftop balcony wasn't on the floor plan either. You know more than I thought about this building. How do you not know your way to investigations? I've been working elsewhere these days. I haven't been this way for around 2 years, so I think it's quite reasonable for me to lose my way. Does that mean he worked here before? Speaking of which, do you have identification? I'm not suspecting you or anything, it's just that I've got another coworker who may point your gun at you if you don't have any. Did I say may? I mean will. Honestly, she might point her gun at you even if you do have some. I guess Thena hasn't changed then. I figured she'd have fixed that by now. You know Detective Thena? Let's just say I won't be needing identification. They all know me. The gun will be pointed all the same, though. No use complicating things. Excuse me? Ah, the sergeant. You're late, Note. You just sort of disappeared, so I came to find you. You were the one who disappeared. But more importantly, we have a visitor. Huh? Note, you get over here this instant. Huh? Yet again, it's been a while. You shut your mouth. Why? After all this time, why? Are you here to kill me? Or is it that you want me to kill you? Sergeant? Neither. I had no desire to come back this way. But what am I to do after being demoted? Demoted? That's right. I've been appointed the Detective Chief Inspector, head of all investigations on the ground floor. I look forward to working with you. What's that supposed to mean? Nonsense. You know I'm not one for jokes. If you've got questions, I would direct them toward the previous Detective Chief Inspector. Damn it. Note, wait here, and don't speak a word to this man. Sergeant, where are you going? Sorry, I'll explain everything when I return. Promise. For now, shall we head inside? Not one single thing has changed in here. This is the only room in the bureau that stinks of humans. Actually, they did take one thing down. It's too quiet to just be waiting around. I'd love a cup of tea. Do you think you could put the kettle on? Right, she said not to speak a word to me, huh? You listen better than I thought you might. Especially considering Sergeant Redfins is only half the investigator she used to be. Half? Oh, did that get a reaction from you? Brian, are you in here? Why didn't you respond to my calls? Detective Thena? Ah, no, have you seen Brian? I've been ringing him all morning. Madan. Been a while. You shouldn't be here. I'm not here because I want to be, but having to explain this to each and every one of you has given me a headache. Madan, then that would make you John Madan, previously of this very division. You spoke like you worked here 2 years before, and both Detective Thena and the Sergeant know you. Chief Madan, were you a detective at the Mana Affairs Division before? No. No? Then I was barking up the wrong tree. Still, not bad, you got close. I'm Bernard Madan. John was my little brother. Thus, when I was Chief Inspector of Operations, I was known to show my face around here. Until 2 years ago, that is. 2 years ago. There's that 2 years ago again. What on earth happened here then? Note. Sergeant? Note. Come quickly. Andy? What is it? Where are you? The Sergeant. She went to meet the Chief. Who is the Chief murdered? Wait up, Note! Oh no, we left Thena in the room with a creepy, dude. We're just going to... We're going to get back to that room, and Madan's going to have mysteriously left to go visit family abroad without telling anyone, and there's going to be the faint scent of lie in the office. Detective Brian. Huh? What are you doing here? Why are you just standing there? Sergeant. Okay, so is Redfins the killer or the victim? Let's find out. I mean, they're not going to kill her off, are they? Oh, nope, she's alive. So, suspect then. Note. Yep, there we are. The chief's dead. Yeah, I think I could have solved that one. Here's the report. On December 25th at 9:30 in the morning, there was a murder reported at the London branch of the Bureau. Man, imagine being murked on Christmas. That's just wrong. Like, at least wait until the 26th. The victim's name, Tim Bird. Well, no wonder they called him Chief. If my name was fucking Kim Bird, I wouldn't want anyone to know it. Former Detective Chief Inspector. The suspects, the members of the Manor Affairs Division. It's Thena. We all know it's Thena. I don't care if she was with a witness at the time. It's Thena. She's crazy. And so we're pacing? Would you please have a seat? You're distracting me. Am I supposed to just sit here? I feel like I've already been locked in here half a day. Can't be helped. We're the suspects now. From the state of the chief's body, I'd say he died sometime between evening and midnight last night. That's around when we met with him. He had his brief conversation with Note in the hall. Then after that, he called me, Thena, and Brian into his office in that order. If this was a murder and there are no other suspects, it's obvious that the suspicions would fall on us. I've been investigating a number of murders, but I never thought I'd be directly involved in one. So this is what it feels like to be on the other side of a murder investigation. This doesn't feel like the world I've been living in. It feels like I've been dropped somewhere else. What's going to happen to us? Well, that falls on me to explain. Madan. First of all, Case, you're innocent. Well, you're not wrong, but how can you be so certain? Just as was said, you stopped by the upstairs balcony before heading straight out the door. I've had my eye on you ever since you left the underground, so I can say that with certainty. His keeping an eye on me is a bit disconcerting, but the important thing is... Then that clears the sergeant for this, too. She left with me. No, we can't say for sure what she was doing before her rendezvous with you on the balcony. She could have killed the victim before meeting up with you. That's impossible. Paddy had no reason to kill the chief. I mean, the chief did kind of suck. Is that so? I don't know the man all too well, but I'm not hearing great reviews about his performance from those around him. Did you not say you wish you could get rid of him at times? That may have slipped out, and I may amend it. Okay, but that's not fair. Thena says Thena wants to get rid of everyone at some times. You also got into an altercation with the victim yesterday, did you not? That makes you our prime suspect. But I was the last one to see the chief. He was alive up till that point, so doesn't that clear Thena and Sarge? We found a few pieces of staff in the area. With those, it may have been possible to trick people about his death. Besides, there's a good possibility that whoever did the deed came back to the scene of the crime to do it. Then it could have been anyone. Even you, weird shady guy who shows up in the last chapter. Well, you all are our prime suspects, but there's no way to say for certain that another staffer wasn't involved. However, this isn't about finding the culprit. After all, this case is over. What? Our answer is clear. You're the only ones we've got in charge of investigations, and we can't let the suspects carry out the investigation. We can't exactly let the police inside the Bureau, and it would be rather inefficient to bring in another department. So I'll ask my questions, and we'll wrap this up. That goes for the case and the Mana Affairs Division. What's that supposed to mean? You're being dismissed, all of you. Oh yeah, that was a thing at the end of last chapter, wasn't it? What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? It's not sudden at all. This whole department is inefficient. We held a meeting and unanimously voted to dismantle your department. This can't be. Catching us off guard like this? Didn't we just solve a big impossible case for you guys, like literally less than 24 hours ago? What the fuck? No, it can't end like this. Yet again, you're burying us, just like you did 2 years ago. If you're that curious about finding out the truth, I won't stop you from investigating. It should be rather simple for you, no? All you need to do is lay one finger on the chief's body. Look here, you know about that? What does he mean by lay one finger on the body? Oh, you didn't know? I thought you two were close. Though I do understand why she wouldn't tell you. You're forcing my hand. Originally, I was going to pick the proper time and place to explain everything. Sergeant? Note, here you go. This is... my bureau file. You can see the details at the bottom there, right? Unable to obtain visual information from inanimate objects. Then you're saying that when you use your skill on living beings, you can see everything that happened too? Not every living thing. There are some I can't get visuals from, obviously. I can't get it from plants since they don't have eyes, and things get blurry with most animals since their senses are different from ours. But when I used my skill on a human body with senses exactly like mine, I got a nearly complete visual record from them. If that's the case, she could have solved all these cases in a heartbeat. Until 2 years ago, Sarge took the lead on most investigations and solved them herself. Athena and I were just there for support. Exactly, up until 2 years ago. But wow, who knew that one little case would make it to where you could never touch another person? Shut it! Why are you even talking? It's okay. Adan, I don't know what your goal is in all of this, but I'm not gullible enough to fall for all of your childish provocations. He's right, I can't touch bodies anymore. I thought I was fine again, but seeing the chief's body right there in front of me, my pathetic hands just wouldn't move. Plus, even if I did succeed in reading the memories from his body, a suspect's word would have no bearing on an investigation. But it's fine. After all, it won't be me solving this case. Pardon? Note, hold on to my bureau file for me. You'll need it during your investigation. Sergeant? Note, you're the only one of us who's been cleared for this crime. This case is yours to solve. Woo! You think I'll stand for this? Didn't you just say exactly that? You said if we were curious about the truth, you wouldn't stop us. Did you really take such a pathetic attempt at humor seriously? Even if he's not a suspect, he's too close to you three. You're expecting me to leave the case in his hands? I'll allow it. Was that the Cabinet Secretary's voice? Cabinet Secretary, isn't this matter settled already? I settle the matters here. You have no reason to deny the boy, madame. This is the perfect opportunity to see our David's potential. Or perhaps you're hiding something. No, sir. He'll start at once. He's getting ahead of himself. Alright, I'll allow you to investigate. But you've only got 1 hour. After that hour, consider this investigation closed. And you must keep your spork flipped the whole time. Alright? Okay, Note, we're all counting on you. They might even change their minds about closing our division if you do well enough. You can't close the division, Note. I can't live if I can't carry a gun legally, Note. Try my best. In the end, it's just as I said. The day has come when the investigation is in your hands alone. My God, I had no idea things would play out like this. Indeed. But Note, are you sure you'll be alright? In this case, even I could be the culprit. Brian, you couldn't be the culprit, and we all know it. You're a weenie. No offense, just it could be Thena. It's probably Thena, or even Sarge herself. Honestly, I've been doubting every person in here since I stepped foot in this room. No matter how hard I refuse to believe this, every little bit of faith I have in you all must be turned to suspicion. And if the truth you uncover is less than ideal for us, you should know what to do. Detective Brian, I've been suspecting you too. I suspect Detective Thena and the Sergeant as well, mostly Detective Thena. Until this case comes to a close, I don't think those doubts will be erased. If this case were to be buried without my having uncovered the truth, I imagine we'd take those doubts straight to our grave. I have no idea what lies in store for us, but I hate the thought of that. Thus, I must get to the bottom of this case. I can't help but believe what you're saying. Well, if you're going to take the case, you'll be needing this. Here's the bureau file on one of your prime suspects. I'm leaving it in your capable hands. Thank you, I'll put it to good use. Aren't you forgetting something? Here. Detective Thena. You can't be leaving only me out, can you? Of course not. So this is how it feels to be in the presence of a David. I have no idea what you're going on about, but I'm sure you're chasing your tail with whatever it is. Note is special, and it's not just because of his talents. Talents aside, and without him being a staffer, Note is the most capable detective I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Well then, that makes him all the more dangerous. Alright, let's get cracking. Who shot the chief? And why is it Medan? Possibly Thena, but it's Medan. If it's not him, it's gonna be the evil chairman, dude. So this is the chief's office. I've walked by it, but this is my first time stepping inside. I never thought these would be the circumstances of my first visit. Chief. I don't know where you're going, but I'm glad to see you off, Chief. Right, I guess this is goodbye. That was the last thing he said to me. Well, let's get started. I have to investigate the scene of the crime, but this time with my own two hands. But what's that sound? Oh yeah, there was something buzzing in here earlier. Oh, hold on a second. That over there, that's the thing from Case 3. That was one of the staff. I think that was the... Okay, don't step in that thing's shadow. It will set us on fire. Let's click on it immediately. Huh? Is this flower pot really holding that? Just as I suspected. He's got the dried flower in here. Oh yeah, the dried flower. No, it wasn't the... I'm trying to remember what specifically the dried flower bookmark thing did. It was like it made a copy. Oh, right, it made a copy of someone. This is from the case we solved about a month ago at the Miller residence. This is one of the pieces of staff the victim had. Its skill allows people to create a replica of themselves when they pluck a petal off the flower. Detective Brian and I saw it in action firsthand, and the ball next to it. The staff I sold was a yellow rubber ball. It was rolling around through the storage area of my department store for a while, but then a mouse that was playing with it suddenly caught fire. The top part of its body was burned to ashes, so it was dead as a doornail when we found it. Poor thing. The chief is holding on to this staff? Is he a collector too? I can't believe he's storing such a dangerous item out in the open. The light is on the ceiling, making it hard to step into the ball's shadow, but if you were to make the wrong move... Come to think of it, Peter Miller had one more piece of staff. Technically two if you count the shed, but I don't think we're fitting the shed in here. Where'd that one go? Let's see. Chief, I hope you understand. My eye was already drawn to this part from far away, but it looks as though the fabric around his chest area is darker than the rest. But it doesn't look like something pushed through the fabric. Till I get a closer look. What's this? There's a hole straight through his chest. On top of that, it looks like the area around the wound was cauterized by a flame or something. Is that why there's so little blood? It's a clean circle. It looks like a hollow tube cut out a section of him. What on earth happened to the guy to leave him looking like this? Alright, we gotta find that buzzing noise somewhere before it drives me insane. Of course, I'm not able to make out footprints with my naked eye. Even if such things were visible, it would take a trained eye to see them. As expected, things are harder without Detective Brian. I should give up on checking out the floor. Okay, check the clock. A digital clock. This is where the sound is coming from. He had an alarm set. I'd love to turn it off right this second, but I should check it out before I do. Besides displaying the time, it looks like it's also got a radio and an alarm function. It looks pretty expensive. It's got the alarm set for 8:30 p.m. and 9 o'clock p.m. That makes the alarm going off in the 9 o'clock one, I'd imagine. Good, now I can turn it off. Phew, that makes me feel a bit better. No, I'd hardly call this mood better. After all, I don't think this nagging feeling will go away until I solve this case. All I've got to do is solve this case and... oh right, the dead kid. If I do solve this case, will that make everything better? What am I thinking? I'm on the case. I don't have time to stand around. I should do what I can first. Check the notepad. Also, I kind of zoned out for a second while it was... Let me just double check the alarm here. Yep, 2 alarms. Looks like the chief left a note, and I should see what he wrote. Thank you for the parting gift. I shall put them to good use. Don't forget that even though I'm going, I'll always be watching. This handwriting, is it his? Let's finish reading first. Always watch what you say and think of me before you act. If you don't, I'll expose the truth about you. I still have the documents. If I ever have the need to order you around again, you be sure you're there to lend a hand. Is this a threat? I figured it a suicide note from the first part of it, but I don't think this guy could have resorted to that. Just guessing from the contents, but it looks like the chief has been threatening someone for some time now. Kinda reminds me of that letter we got earlier. It seems like he was about to pass on another threatening message. I can't be sure yet if this is related to the case, but it could have something to do with the killer's motive. On closer look, I see the yellow remnants of the previous page. Did he rip that one off and store it somewhere? Unfortunate. If the sergeant were here, she could recreate the previous message too. Though she'd probably say something stupid like, "What do you think of this note? Notebook. Ah, that's what she was getting at with the notebook bit. Note, you're stupid sometimes. You're a silly boy." To have such a large painting hanging in his office, was the chief wealthier than I might have imagined? Or is it staff? Never mind, on closer inspection it doesn't look like an expensive one. There are a few smudge sections here and there, and the colors seem off. Huh? This picture wasn't painted on canvas? It looks like it was painted on another type of thin cloth. In fact, the fabric's so thin I can see through it. What is art, anyway? Huh? There's a hole in the wall underneath the painting. No way, is this a bullet hole? Well, if it's a bullet we're talking about, I can only think of one person who could have made it. Got a bullet hole, or possibly just the hole for whatever actually hit him. They burned the hole through him or whatever. But the chief keep an extra set of clothes here. I don't see anything special about them. Maybe I could turn out his pockets. Just a waste of time. Nothing. He has 2 pairs of shoes, though. If I organize what I've found so far... 1 second, getting a quick swig of water. I guess that'll do. I think I've checked out everything I can. Normally, someone else would have said that. It feels sort of lonely. Still, I did find something. There's one thing I can tell from what we've investigated so far. I know what our murder weapon was. That's all I can say for sure. Got to connect the pieces of evidence that tell me that. Okay, so... It said it didn't look like a gun, did it? So, let's see here. Let me just pin this for a second and see what we got. Is it just as simple as connecting these two things? Oh, nope, guess not. I don't think any of the guys we got here can be... I guess in that case, the only other thing it could be is the rubber ball. Like, they... The chief's body shows evidence of only one wound, the scorched hole in the center of his chest. It's clear that this was the fatal wound that led to his death. On top of that, there's a piece of staff in this room able to light things on fire, turning them to ash. That, of course, is the yellow rubber ball. That rubber ball was procured at the Miller residence, and the woman who sold the ball was very clear. The mouse that stepped into the shadow of that ball was burned to ashes. Okay, so in that case, the question is, how did it only burn a tiny hole through his chest? This piece of staff has the skill to turn an object to ash, and its trigger is something coming into its shadow. That's what I know thus far. The shadow of the ball must have been centered on the chief's chest. That's how he got that wound. It's weird that there's no hole in his shirt, but now that I'm really looking at it, there are no burns on the wall or floor either. It seems that this ball only burns living tissue. When you consider that the mouse was burned to ash while the floor was unscathed, then that explains why the shirt is fine while the tissue within was burned straight through. I'm sure of it. The murder weapon was this piece of staff. And that's it. I can't say anything else for sure. Though it does mean someone was probably trying to frame Thena, because if it doesn't affect non-living matter, then where'd the bullet hole come from? Maybe she just shot the ball for funsies. No matter how this goes, I'm just not going to be able to solve a Phenomana case alone. What? Where'd the boisterous bloke from before go? You finished investigating the scene of the crime in 10 minutes, even going so far as to name the murder weapon. You've still got plenty of time, so how about giving it another go? I've already given it enough thought. There's nothing else I can figure out by looking over the crime scene. Of course, time to think isn't really a problem with you. Then how about getting statements from your suspects? My suspects? Statements from all of you? But I don't really feel comfortable questioning my colleagues like that. You might even be able to clear one of us using our statements, and if you make good use of them, they might even help your investigation. Yeah, I wonder if that's what we gotta do. We gotta disprove their involvement one by one so we can start using their powers to get more information. Of course, I see what the sergeant is getting at. Alright, let's do it. Leave the statements to me. You can write down what everyone says, but leave out the abnormal heartbeat part. What? Why are you so surprised? You're a suspect. Did you think your abnormal heartbeats would have any bearing on this case? I mean, he's right. That's just how things stand right now. Well then, we should get started on the statements. We should each talk about the events that played out from when we met with the chief last night, all the way up to this morning. Note, who would you like to hear from first? Alright, let's roll the dice. Take her pick. Any day now? Alright, let's get the boss out of the way first. It was a little after 7:30 p.m. when I entered the chief's office. The chief blathered on about meaningless things that had nothing to do with work. I admit I stopped paying attention in the middle, but I must say it was rather odd. He wasn't the type of person who liked to discuss private affairs. It felt like the talk of a man about to leave. At least that's what I felt at the time. I left the room and told Thena to head up right after. I didn't go back in that room after that. I just put a few documents away in my car and headed up to the roof. And well, you know the rest. I was up there, then we left together. When I talked with the chief, I had the same feeling that he was talking like someone about to leave. Today, Chief Madan was coming in to take over as Detective Chief Inspector, so where was our old chief headed? Alright, Thena, what do you got to say? he told me the chief wanted to see him and I headed up. It was about 8 o'clock p.m. The chief told me to have a seat. Right when I did, he started talking. Not about work, but like he was reciting some strange philosophical view on the world. It rubbed me the wrong way. I don't do philosophical stuff, note. I do gun. I wanted to give him a little scare. But then he froze up and called security. That's why I don't have a gun on me. They confiscated it. And they kicked me out of his office. That's it. That's my statement. There was a part of Detective Thena's statement where it felt like she skipped over some important parts. Yeah, she put the bullet in the wall. It's Thena, we know. Should I put them out later on? Yep, alright. Let's hear Brian out before we start pointing out Thena's a lying liar who lies. It was exactly 8 to 10 when I met the chief. He called me on my spork. For some reason, he didn't look to be in the best of moods. He told me to remain standing, as what he wanted to say wouldn't take long. The content of his lecture consisted of rather inconsequential life advice. In truth, it was nothing but him tooting his own horn. I decided somewhere in the middle that it wasn't worth my time and walked out of the room. But as horrible as the chief was, my behavior was unacceptable, and I couldn't let that go. That was why I headed straight to the chief's office this morning. And there, I happened upon his body. For now, that's all I can remember. And Detective Brian was the last person to see the chief alive. Generally speaking, that makes him my prime suspect. I mean, I just can't imagine him doing such a thing, but I've got to leave emotions out of this. That's everyone's account of last night. Detective Thena wrote out all of their statements, but without the abnormal heartbeats, it's impossible for me to see who's telling the truth. To be honest, they weren't that big of a help last time. Back when we did have them either. They give us a hand sometimes, but... However, that doesn't mean I'm out of ways to acquire any more information. If I can connect parts of the statements to clues I found at the crime scene, I might be able to get a better sense of what happened. Even the smallest of details will help. Let's connect the statements with the clues that relate to them. And of all the clues I found at the scene of the crime, I think I can tell who left one of them. Yeah, if you didn't figure this out already, then what's wrong with you? It's the bullet hole. Where was it again? Bullet hole, then Thena's witness statement. Detective Thena, you only wanted to scare the chief, yet they took your gun. Uh-huh. So the gunshot hole left at the scene of the crime right here is... Yep, that's it. I told you I scared him a little, right? I fired a round off next to his face. That's not a little scare. Are you in your right mind? Brian, it's Thena. You should know this by now. You discharged your weapon. Redfins, it's Thena. You should know this by now. Like, I watched her ice a man right in front of me. Like, full-on premeditated. Like, that was planned out from the get-go. Like, is this really a surprise to you? But the chief, that tosser, said it was goodbye, and then he kept going on about how I couldn't help it because I'm a staffer and all sorts of other grading marks. He said Penny and Brian never knew their place, and that it would be better to tell me since I spoke my mind. Now that I'm thinking about it, he said pretty much the same to me. Yeah, so I got annoyed and couldn't help. Still, firing your weapon was a step too far. It's true that the security guards called in by the victim detained Thena yesterday. And that's indeed why they confiscated her weapon. Then they didn't let her go until 11 p.m. after their investigation of the incident was finished. Though she's still in no position to speak out considering the suspicions that follow her. Detective Thena. Sorry, note. I made your job harder for you. No, you actually did well. Well then, thanks, I guess. I should put guns on people more often. Note, it's not my place to say this, but if you keep egging her on like that, she won't break these bad habits of hers. I mean, I do agree that firing a shot was crossing the line, but as far as our case is concerned, I think we can say that yesterday's incident may actually turn out in Detective Thena's favor. In her favor? Detective Thena was detained until 11 in the evening. That means one of the items I found at the scene of the crime gains a due significance. The radio alarm went off at like 9 something. Wait. Okay, so I'm just combining with this. I only need the one clue, I don't need two. That's good. I'm sure you all know, right? There was an alarm going off at the scene of the crime until just a few minutes ago. It was pretty loud in there. Was that an alarm going off? It was, and I do think it was an alarm set by the victim. And because the victim was already dead when the alarm went off, there was no one there to turn it off. And the alarm in question was set for 9 o'clock p.m. I see. Then Thena was lucky indeed. If the alarm was still ringing at 9 o'clock, I see. If the chief wasn't able to turn off his 9 o'clock alarm, there's a high likelihood he died before that. But if Thena was under investigation until 11 o'clock, that's right, Detective Thena couldn't have killed the chief. Oh, is that certain then? If it was anyone else, I'd be asking, why do you sound unsure about this? We can't say that for sure. The chief could have stepped out of his office for a moment around 9. No, the body was discovered inside his office. Even if he did step outside for a moment, he would have had to come back in before his death. If the alarm was still sounding, the chief would have turned it off then. Yet the alarm was going off at the scene of the crime until a few minutes ago. In other words, we can be certain that the victim died before 9 o'clock p.m. Yay! Freedom! To think that discharging your weapon will lead you to proving your innocence. This case is getting out of hand. Come now, this is the very moment my outlook on life has been reaffirmed. I have a feeling this incident may worsen her bad habits, and that worries me. Okay, so we got one person on side now. Is one person cleared? Well, first things first, this clears Detective Thena, right? Sure. That leaves Redfins and Brian as our possible suspects. We'll see about that. The obvious consequence here is that faith in Detective Thena has been restored. So, that means Detective Thena is able to participate in the investigation now, right? Pardon? Can I? What are you even saying? Of course not. Why not? Thena has close bonds with both suspects. I'm concerned she might lie on behalf of both Brian and Redfin. The same goes for me. So why are you letting me carry out my investigation? You see, the cabinet secretary has a particular reason for allowing me to investigate. Of course he does. He's had eyes on only me ever since I left the underground yesterday. I can't be sure what his particular reason might be, but it seems that the cabinet secretary still wants to keep that hidden. Then Madan... Damn, if I said too much... Oh well, couldn't be helped. I guess he has no choice but to allow it. Seems you've learned how to make threats now too. I've nothing left to teach you. Alright, I'll allow Thena to help with the investigation. She can't do anything but add where she detected the abnormal heartbeats anyway. What was that? Detective Thena, could you please add the abnormal heartbeats to the statements? I guess he's got a point. Still, this is a stupendous addition. Maybe for someone who doesn't already know your skill. How many abnormal heartbeats did you detect during their statements? 1. I detected when Brian talked about finding the body. But he was talking about a body, so an abnormal heartbeat was a given. In other words, it's still impossible to point to one particular part of their statements. These two know your skill better than anyone else. It's extremely likely they avoided making risky remarks. It's no wonder you didn't detect many abnormal heartbeats. It's as he says, with just this one abnormal heartbeat, it's going to be hard to point out a lie in what the sergeant and Detective Brian said. However, the opposite is also a possibility. Eh? Is that what's happening here? Because I proved Detective Thena's innocence, I was able to add her investigative powers to my own. With the abnormal heartbeats added to the statements, if I can prove someone else's innocence... So let's see if there's anything we can say to prove that something wasn't a lie. Okay, so we're either looking for a statement about innocence showing it's not a lie, or a statement about a body or death or something that's not showing an abnormal heartbeat. Okay, let's see what we got here. Just double check here. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, what do we got here? Could lead to something here. I'm noting a lack of stress here. So maybe that's... he didn't feel as bad about it as he says. No, that's not it. Okay. Maybe this. Maybe leave means die here. Or maybe it's just, Randy says, I didn't go back in the room after that, so she's clear. Yep, there we go. I was under the impression we'd be clearing Brian first, because like it seems like they'd want... we haven't had a real Pandorica-focused... not a real Pandy-focused case in this so far, so I figured this was going to be one where she needs to stay under suspicion the longest for dramatic plot reasons. In the sergeant's statement, she said, I didn't go back in the room after that. We didn't detect an abnormal heartbeat in her statement. In other words, after her first time meeting the chief, she didn't see him again. And after the sergeant had her sit down with the chief, he called in Detectives Thena and Brian, one after the other. That means that after her final meeting with the chief was still alive. From this, we can prove the sergeant's innocence. So, are you going to ask for her to be included in the investigation too? You know very well I am. Well, my word, I did believe allowing just one person, Thena, to join in would be alright. After all, it's hard to push back against his orders. Well, what can I say? If he wants me to peel back the layers, we might as well peel them all back. I'll let Red Vince join you. Great. That's rather unexpected, because this is you we're talking about. I figured you'd nitpick about this, that, or the other. Why would I do that? It means nothing to me whether you catch your culprit or not. Well then, it seems that the only suspect you have left is Brian. He was the last to see the victim alive, and he knew well of the staff used to murder the victim. Right? Isn't it about time you named your culprit? Don't be ridiculous. This is Brian we're talking about. You really think he's capable of something like that? He ain't built like that. He's a punk bitch. Your argument is steeped in emotion. Maybe you'd be better suited for operations over investigations. This investigation isn't over. Once the sergeant carries out a memory survey of the crime scene, we'll turn over another clue. With that, we'll clear Detective Brian's name as well. Indeed, yet you may turn the charge back on the people you've already cleared for this. Alright, time to do some more digging. Get a bit more data. The chief I honestly thought I might kill that man a few times. Detective Thena, I believe refraining from making incriminating remarks would be a good call right now. Just a thought, nothing more. However, it's not quite as pleasing a sight as I thought it would be. Note, let's start our investigation. Alright. Alright. Yeah, it takes forever on these transition screens. That's something I've been complaining about for a while. Okay, I missed all these things. The incident at the mansion is still so vivid, it feels like it happened last week. Though in truth, it hasn't been a month yet. Andy, are you going to investigate the rubber ball? What if it burns your hand off when you touch it? If it's the murder weapon, I have no choice. I should be fine as long as I don't move into its shadow. Hold up 1 second. Right, you'll be fine if you come at it from this direction. Now read its memories from here. Thank you. Still, I wish you wouldn't put yourself in harm's way on my behalf. I just put the investigation first is all. If you were to hurt your hand, Sergeant, we'd have a hard time with our investigation. Is that so? Yes, that's exactly so. Just fuck already! Eh? What's going on? Alright, pokey pokey. It seems as though this rubber ball was originally wrapped in a cloth. That's how we passed it by without knowing what it was when we came in here. Is that because you're able to touch its shadow when it's wrapped in cloth? Might be. After all, shadows are created by the light. If you block it from the light, maybe its skill doesn't activate. No. Besides that, what was the look you two just shared a second ago? Is that what I think it was? How about this dried flower? Has it been used? The flower has a memory of a petal being plucked, but it seems to be from a number of days ago. Well then, it seems unlikely to be related to this case. When the chief used it before, it seemed like it had a time limit. Then let's hurry up and check something else out. We don't have much time. Damn you two. If it wasn't for the investigation, I keep pestering you two until you pay me to stop. I wasn't exactly trying to hide anything, but it would be good to focus on the investigation. Now? Okay, what else can we poke? Alright, can't investigate the floor till we've got Brian. Let's check the clock. So this is the digital clock. I've got to thank it for clearing my name. It's got a memory of someone turning it off last night. I hear the chief's voice complaining about how loud it is, so it was probably him. What? But the alarm was only turned off a few minutes ago, wasn't it? I'm certain an alarm was going off when I reached the scene before. The clock also holds the memory of sounding for a long time after. The clock is programmed to go off twice, at 8:30 and at 9. I see. Then the memory I was reading must have been of the 8:30 alarm. And since it was the chief who turned off that one, it means the chief was still alive at 8:30. See what else we got. Sergeant, could you take a look at this notepad? Sure, give it here. Isn't there something you want to say? What might that be? Never mind. This letter is threatening someone, very much something the chief would do. There are also clear pen impressions from when the previous note was written. I can restore what was written there with my skill. There was quite a lot of information written here. It's going to take some time. Nina, could you pull that note over? I think it should be moving some things around before I write all this out. Here you go. Note, what are you doing? I'm just sorry. I found that thing and... Of course, can't teach an old dog new jokes. I just suddenly wish I was the dead one. Done. This here is a list of all the staff in the chief's possession. Look here, you can see the rubber ball written down on his list. It's not that it burns the thing with its shadow, it alters the light that shines on it. He's got quite a lot of details written... Oh, sorry, wrong voice. Ugh. He's got quite a lot of details written down here. He even wrote a precaution for the dried flower. It's a rather dumb precaution. What was he trying to use the thing for? There's an entry for a piece of staff we don't know of as well. It seems as though the chief has been carrying out his own research. We had a person die due to the unauthorized staff in his collection, and now to see the chief collecting staff. What a greedy man. Still, I think this document will help us out during our investigation. We should be thankful you found it. That document reminds me, there was also a music box among the staff procured from the Miller residence. I don't see it here, though, so where is it? Okay, so here's the thing. In case 3, when we first found all these magic doodads, I remember it was a big plot point that they changed the appearance of these different things in order to, they changed the appearance of illegal staff or magical artifacts in order to keep them hidden. So I'm wondering if they changed the music, if the music box got rebuilt into a radio, and rebuilt into that radio to disguise it, and the cloth that was in there was either the cloth that the ball was wrapped in, and that's why it's gone, because whoever had it used it to walk out through the wall. Or the cloth is actually the painting in the back there, because it was mentioned it was painted on thin cloth earlier. Okay, what else we gotta click on? I see the chief had an extra change of clothes. When I checked it out before, there was nothing in the pocket. Seems like that's a given. He hasn't worn this coat jacket in a month. It's just a spare, huh? But how about the shoes down there? These shoes were worn just yesterday. Don't people normally change jackets more often than shoes? That's not the case with slippers, but these all look like dress shoes. It's a bit odd. It is indeed. Let's put the shoes on our report. And then the painting. It's a painting of a Greek woman holding an earthen jar, and it's quite unpleasant. You think so? It was painted on something rather unique. That paint was applied to an especially thin, cloth-like material. It was. Touching it only confirms that fact. That doesn't mean you... wrong voice again. That doesn't mean you should start caressing the thing. What if it's expensive? It's okay, since it's for the investigation. Plus, it seems the chief touched it quite often, too. It carries the memory of that? Yes, the memories show that he touched the jar part. In fact, it wasn't just touching, he pressed down quite hard. Oh, I bet I know what this is. Okay, so let me just bring this up here. View evidence. Chief's records had mentioned the wrapping cloth I was looking at. It says, stick it to a wall and push hard, and it lets you pass through a single wall. Anything with enough density of mass to distort space. I think he's got a safe behind the wall, and he uses the wrapping cloth to access it. Also, let's see here. Let's just look over the other stuff a little closer over here. The musical box records whatever's in front of it and then plays it back. Using it 5 days after recording, it causes it to record a new video. It's indistinguishable from real life, able to record up to 12 hours. What if the chief was dead before all of this? He was killed super early on in the whole interaction. No, I know, because he reacted to when Thena shot at him. Or didn't he? I think he did. Like, he froze up when she shot something, I think. Okay, then we know this one already, and the dried flower creates a replica of the person that moves on its own. Doesn't matter. Okay, so maybe the chief who was in the room was a replica of some sort. We'll have to figure this all out. Does that mean something's stashed away behind it? No, behind it is just an ordinary wall. Right, I knew that. I'd have been surprised if that wasn't the case. I think we've checked everything worth checking. Now it feels like a real investigation. After everything, this is the most notable clue we found, huh? Record of the 4 pieces of staff in the chief's possession? Right, all the staff the chief had in his possession could have been used during the crime. Perhaps there's a suspect besides us who could have done this. But the only staff left is a rubber ball and the dried flower, no? On top of that, the dried flower hasn't been used. No, there are actually 3 pieces of staff here. Eh? There's definitely one thing that stands out. Huh? Is that right? I've got the list of staff and the item in question. Should I show Detective Thena? Alright, so yeah, obviously the painting is being used to access the safe through the wall. Got it in one, as usual. I am the goat. Easy peasy. Among the 4 pieces of staff listed here, there's one we were unaware of. Ah, the wrapping cloth. Perhaps it's something the chief procured from another case or had in his possession beforehand. Its trigger is being pushed hard and is able to let you pass through a single wall it's stuck to. One of the items in this room contained a similar memory, yes? Ah, you mean the painting? Yes, that's right. The painting is actually a wrapping cloth, and it's our 4th piece of staff. This staff, like the others at the Miller residence, has been disguised as something else to prevent it from being seized. It certainly seems that way with this painting/cloth. After all, it's clear on closer look that it's painted on cloth, not paper or canvas. I never thought you could hide something like this out in the open. You know what they say, you can't see the nose in front of your face sometimes. No one would go around touching a painting on display like this. Staff able to let you pass through a wall? No way. I want to try it out, but it's too high for me to reach. You have to climb up on his desk. If it's like you say, I just push right here, then I'll see whatever's behind this. Ah! Detective Thena, are you alright? Head by head. You're lucky you didn't go through the wall and fall straight out of the building. This place is smaller than I imagined. The painting looks so big. Is there perhaps another way out of there? No, it's blocked in on all 4 sides. Also, there's only room in here for 1 person. A space cut off from the rest of the building with no other passageways leading out. And it wasn't possible for our culprit to escape through there. Are there any items hidden in there? Sorry, wrong voice. Are there any items hidden in there? It's too dark to see, but I don't think there's anything in here. It's completely empty. Then that can only be a space for someone to hide inside in case of emergency. Okay, not a secret safe then, I was close. Then it seems our culprit was one of you lot who went in and out of the door. Don't just butt in whenever you want. We're not done with our investigation. No, you're done. Redfins, you're off the case. All of the documents you had a hand in creating will also be disposed of. What do you mean? You allowed her to join this investigation. I did, but that was because it seemed impossible for Redfins to have committed the crime. But now the tide is turned. We have staff at the scene of the crime, and there's now a chance that one of those pieces of staff was used in the crime. On top of that, the only person able to know about said staff was Redfins. The victim wrote out all the information he had on his staff and hid it away in a secret place. But none of you knew about the notes he hid away until Redfins used his skill. Am I wrong? In other words, at the current juncture, the only person able to know the precise details of the staff and how to use it all to commit a crime is Redfins. I don't know if she was just trying to avoid bringing suspicion on herself, but restoring the information about that staff was a mistake. But the sergeant didn't return to the scene of the crime after her last visit with the chief. And after that, Detectives Thena and Brian both met with him. He's right, the chief was brimming with life when I saw him. But what if that wasn't really the victim? Okay, so we're going the route of the chief was a replica and she already killed the real chief or something. You're talking about the replica. I don't think the victim made a replica during his own murder. It doesn't have to be the replica. For example, what about the staff in the shape of that musical box? I heard they could create an elaborate illusion nearby. What if what Thena and Brian saw was some recording the musical box displayed? What if Redfins killed the victim, hid the scene of the crime, and played the recording for them? What then? What nonsense are you spouting off? I share of his sentiment. What I saw was no pre-recorded image or video. Are you sure about that? None of you have seen the musical box's skill firsthand. You can't know how elaborate a video it's able to recreate. And now that the musical box has disappeared from your crime scene, there's no way for us to check it. You expect me to believe that's a coincidence. I'll have you know I was dragged away by security called by the victim. Anyone could have called security. You said the chief was frozen in place when security showed up. No? You really think that was because of the gunshot? And you said you left before the chief could finish what he was saying. Your credibility on this issue is less than subpar, and that goes for all of you. It means nothing for this case. Damn. But what if it's about contradiction, not credibility? What do you mean? So, the version of the chief that Detectives Brian and Athena met was actually a recording replayed by the music box. What if we presume your assumption true, but we find a contradiction after? If Madan's argument is true, then we've got a few pieces of evidence that disagree with each other. I should point them out. Alright, so... we know it's... let's see. The recording, let's see. Able to record up to 12 hours. Records the events surrounding it. Let's see here. Pardon me. You probably can't use the memory survey as evidence because it's compromised as long as this dick-ass suspects red fins. Let's take a look here. Okay, nothing in the conversation logs. Take a look at what we've got. Okay, just double check what we're looking for. What do we have as far as options go? Check the limits on the music box again. Okay, one thing I think it is Athena would have been able to, like, detect if it wasn't really him, wouldn't she? Oh wait, hold on, I see it now. It's recording. He told Athena to have a seat, but Brian remains standing. So that couldn't have just been a recording. Clever. Detective Athena, do you remember the first thing the chief told you to do when you went into his office? Of course. He said, have a seat. I told you that, right? How about you, Detective Brian? I think I follow. Of course I remember. He said, remain standing. They heard two very different things. Could that be possible if the whole thing were a recording? Maybe they're just recordings from two different times. No, have a seat and remain standing were the first things these two heard when they entered the room. Even if the sergeant were to have recorded the chief's conversation with her, she couldn't have gotten those two different phrases on one recording. There's always the possibility the two of them are lying for Redfin's to... I'm sorry, but they said the exact same thing when they made their official statements before. Note was only confirming their previous statements. I know you'd love to pin this on me, but don't you think you're pointing your finger the wrong way here? Alright. Sorry to interfere with the investigation. Continue. Hurry up and prove Brian is her culprit. You little... It sounds as though you really wish that to be the case. Madame, what exactly is going on in that brain of yours? It's not that I want it, it's the only logical theory, isn't it? You said you were the last of our suspects to meet with the victim. Add to that the fact that you're the only one not cleared for this. Then it's a given, no? I see where you're coming from. But then you toss her. What are you butting in when you don't have the brain for this and simply can't tell heads from tails? What? Why are you staring at me? Nothing, just looking. I'm glad the information I found turned out to be useful, but I'm still not getting an overall sense of what happened here. We're going to need Brian's help if we want to solve this one. Is there no evidence that proves Brian didn't commit the crime at 810? If there is, we'll be able to get some more information by looking at the trace evidence. If there isn't, though, maybe we can find some other clues left behind by our culprit. Focusing on finding something could be our right move. Looks like we have two options moving forward. Clearing Brian for this crime or finding another clue left by a criminal. In our current situation, which one is more likely to pan out? I should print out this transcript and match it with the evidence we have to work with. Okay, so we gotta pick which way to figure this out. Pin this. What other clues have we have that are left? Oh, well, obviously, duh. He couldn't have committed the crime at 8:10 because he turned off the alarm at 8:30. Easy peasy there. Just seemed like it might have been leading in the other direction. But yeah, we've got kind of stone-cold evidence Brian didn't do it then. Sergeant, this clock. You said the chief turned off the 8:30 alarm, right? Right, there's no question about it. Detective Brian left this office at 8:10. So in other words, the chief was still alive when Detective Brian left the room. What do you say, Chief Madan? I mean, how do you know the alarm was set for 8:30 yesterday? Brian knows what skill Redfins has, so maybe he just reset the alarm. If that were true, we'd see Detective Brian's fingerprints on the clock. At the very least, we'd see some smudges from a gloved hand. Fingerprints. Are you seriously bringing up fingerprints? What are you expecting me to say? Brian is the one who checks the prints. You expect me to believe what he says? You're wrong there. My skill merely makes it possible for us to know what time prints were left. For the fingerprinting itself, anyone can do it with the right equipment. Even you could pull that off, Madan. You dumb fuck. I have the equipment in my drawer. Would you like to give it a try? Let's see if my prints really are on that clock. I swear the soundtrack in this game gets super loud sometimes. Whatever. I'm sure you didn't leave anything behind. Well then, is Detective Brian cleared for this? Not a chance. The possibility he committed the crime has just gone down ever so slightly. After all, our only 3 suspects are from your division. For now, I'll permit him to join the investigation. Just don't forget that he's still a suspect for this crime. Alright, that sounds more than reasonable. After all, I'm sure Note will see this case to its conclusion. That's a given. But to that end, we're going to have to add Detective Brian's power to ours. Anytime I can help. Alright, so... Alright, time to find out who really did this and why it's Madan. Because, dear lord, is he sus. He is, in fact, the sussiest of Barkers. The chief, in his own special way, he held a place in my heart. In the past 2 years, I've never once granted him a personal favor. Because of that, I don't have a single good memory with him, and for that, I feel sorry for him. Indeed, for even a guy like Detective Brian to say such unkind things about the chief, he truly was remarkable in that regard. Detective Brian, are you alright? Indeed I am. After all, I'm the one who found the body before. Also, he may have had an idea deep inside that he'd meet his end like this someday. I'm keeping you all waiting. Let's get right to the investigation. Yes, we're counting on you. Alright, let's stay together and look for clues. We're not splitting up because I'm not leaving Fina alone again. It took forever to get the blood out of the carpet. There are a number of footprints from the three of us around that chair. It's hard to tell our exact movements with how they all weave together, but the time they were made is clear. Sarge's are from 7:40, Thena's are from 8, and mine are from 8:10. That lines up with each statement. As expected. More importantly, are there anyone else's footprints? Everything else was left by the chief. Not going to make it easy for us. No, it might be easier than you think. What do you mean? There are footprints showing the chief leaving his office at 8:30. Then, I see his footprints leading back in at 8:35. Are you sure? His stride is a bit weird, but I'm sure those are the chief's footprints. That is quite the clue. Alright, check out our secret passage here. This painting is actually staff that allows one to pass through walls, right? That's right. I just use it to check out the other side and come back. I can see that. Your face left a clear mark on it. Looks like something from a dream. Or maybe something that could fit in a modern art exhibit. Hey, what exactly are you seeing? I'll tell you later. Let's focus on the investigation for now. You were the one who wasn't focusing. Is there any trace of the chief using that painting? I have prints of the chief pressing down on the painting of the jar. They're from 2 days ago. That may tell us something. Make a note of it. When the Sarge checked this coat out, he said it hadn't been worn recently. But these shoes... I see they were worn just yesterday. What time was that? 8:35 in the evening. The fingerprints are smudged, but I imagine they're probably the chief's. Well, if they were left at 8:35, that would be after we all met him. Let's make a note of that. It may work in our favor to have that information. Yes, ma'am. Alright. Finding out some lovely things here. And let's check the stuff over here. I had no idea this rubber ball would be involved in another case. I also had no idea it was sitting right here when I came in yesterday. It was probably covered in cloth then, so you didn't see it for what it was. I see. That's probably why there are still prints. How about on the dried flower? The most recent prints were left by the chief 10 days ago. The only ones besides that are the ones from the Sarge and note from just before. That's probably from when we investigated it. If we'd known you'd be investigating too, we would have just looked from afar, not touched. There were no prints for us to erase, though. After all, no one touched this recently. That's a relief. Also, I can see evidence of a box sitting on this shelf. I can see it was moved last night. That's probably the music box we confiscated from the Miller residence. As expected, it was right here. The question is, where is it now? Alright, we got our doohickeys. Not sure where to go from here, though. Good, we've investigated all suspicious items. We found some useful trace evidence, too. The chief's footsteps after we all left are especially noteworthy. They take center stage in this case. So the chief was alive at 8:35, and I saw no other footprints entering the room. On top of that, none of us has a skill that allows us to kill from afar. This is clear proof of our innocence. And cue Madame being a fuckwit in 3, 2, 1. Wait. By the way, this last set of footprints made by the chief, could they be? Looks like my watch was off. Incredible. What are you doing up here out of the blue? You finally lose your marbles? You think this makes you look so cool, huh? You're pathetic. How about you stop there? You've embarrassed him enough as it is. No, I truly think you all are incredible. How can you lot spout all that nonsense with such confidence? What? The last set of footprints left by the victim. You should be able to see how odd they are. What do you mean odd? Are you nitpicking again? Those footprints were clearly left by the chief. The stride may be off, but the shape is clearly... What do you think is the reason behind the odd shape? No. Are you trying to say the footprints weren't left by the chief? Eh? I hate to admit it, but Chief Madan may not be nitpicking with this. It's possible that the footprints weren't made by the chief because of evidence left at the scene. And like at first I was thinking maybe it was the doppelganger, but did someone wear his shoes? Excuse me. There were handprints in the shoes. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. At the scene of the crime, we have an extra set of clothes, right? There's no sign that the jacket was messed with, but there was trace left on the shoes last night. My skill told me the same story. The only things with a memory of being touched recently are those shoes. Why exactly are we bringing this up all of a sudden? Why, you ask? Can't you use that imagination of yours? There's only one reason Detective Brian thought the footprints made at 8:30 belonged to the Chief. Because they look like the Chief's shoes. There's more trace from 8:35, the trace left on the shoes at the scene. However, it's possible that the footprints weren't made by the Chief. What? The culprit could have worn those shoes, walked around, and then left them there. The footprints leaving the room, those were probably made by the victim. But the criminal waiting outside to kill the victim, that person was already wearing the same shoes as him, prepared beforehand, of course, and then could have carried the victim back into the room. But Anne, you must really want to pin this on one of us. If it's like you say, and the footprints were made when the culprit entered the room at 8:35, where are the footprints leading out? The culprit could have just walked backward out of the room. That would explain the strange stride patterns you saw. I'm sorry, but if the culprit walked in such a strange way, I would be able to tell. I'm sure the footprints were made walking inward. Well then, the culprit must not have left. What? Maybe he hid in this room. Then after enough time had gone by, he pretended to discover the body. Ooh, we're going after Brian again. Aren't you the comedian? And if anyone came in, he'd be done for. Like I said, he could hide. Isn't there a place in this room where a person could hide unseen? A place where a person wouldn't be seen. Is he talking about that particular place? Are you really going to make me point out the secret compartment behind the painting again? Like, I have to actually input this very obvious thing. Are you kidding me? Fine. Alright, there we go. I solved the very obvious thing. Got a grip. The painting at the scene of the crime, actually a wrapping cloth, is staff that allows a person to traverse through a wall. There's space for a person to hide behind that. As Detective Thena discovered before, there's definitely space enough for a single person to hide away. Right, then our culprit hid back there. Then after the body was left to decompose over a long enough period, the culprit pretended he was the first to discover the body. Then, if someone were to have found the body before him, he could wait until that person was gone and pretend he stumbled upon the body too. The person who first found the body is probably... That'd be me. Of course. Carrying such a large man would have been an impossible task for anyone without Brian's large frame. What? You're speaking like Brian's surely the culprit or something. Don't just stand there, say something. What is it? It's clear that Detective Brian is the only person who could have pulled off a feat as you described it. So, your logic must be incorrect. Pardon? This idea about the culprit trying to replicate the victim's footprints? If it really was Detective Brian and not someone else, such behavior would be rather bizarre. After all, Detective Brian has a certain something about him. Like, he's the only one who can identify, like, whose footprints are whose, isn't it? Like, he wouldn't be leaving trace on the shoes. Or he would have just lied about it. It's thanks to this trace photo that we found out about the footprints left at around 8:30. If we hadn't known about the planted footprints, our investigation would have gone the wrong direction. But this document was created using Detective Brian's skill. Thus, Detective Brian didn't need to falsify the footprints. He wouldn't have had to hide behind the painting. After all, it was his investigation that showed the footprints were planted. He wouldn't have needed to invent another set of footprints. All he'd have had to do was lie and say the footprint at 8:30 were the ones coming in and out. The only ones coming in and out. Even if his own footprints were left at the scene during the crime, he could say they were the ones from before. Thus, your logic is mistaken. As suspected, he's cleared it up. Then, why were you keeping your mouth shut before? I thought leaving it a note would be better than making up a bunch of excuses. You're just confusing me. Though it is rather odd. Madame, didn't you say you have no interest in how this case ends? But with all these statements casting doubt on the three of us, it seems clear that you're doing nothing short of interfering with our investigation. Not bad, Brian. You finally used your head. You knew this would happen and fabricated the footprints to confuse us, huh? What? No, didn't you hear what Note just said? I did. He basically said that if Brian is the culprit, the footprints mean nothing. He could just go back inside and kill the victim without all the tricks and pageantry I spoke of, yes? But if Brian isn't the killer, it means someone else went into that room. And if that's the case, who's the other person? Dina? Redfins? If the trace photo is real, it means the culprit knew of Brian's skill. How many people besides the three of you know about that? The person left no trace and knew about the skills the man of Bear's vision had in his stock. Is there any other suspect who fills all those boxes? Oh gee, if only there was a very suspicious person who just transferred in and is being a complete asshole. Yeah, there isn't. The results of your investigation name you all as the prime suspects once more. So doesn't that mean that none of what you've turned up can be trusted? We have no choice but to throw out everything we know. Unfortunately, that's how this case ends. Why are you doing all of this? Good question. We're in trouble. If there really is another suspect, have we collected a single clue thus far that might tell us who that could be? And if we haven't, is there some place we haven't investigated? Somewhere hidden away? We've got to keep my cool. First things first, we need to clear up these crises. Something someone said just struck a chord with me. I'll just have to show them the answer they're looking for. Yeah, we haven't looked for trace inside the cubby, have we? Oh wait, no, we looked for trace at the people who went into it. Let's just pin this here. Okay, what do we got that's potentially... What do we got that we haven't looked at yet? I guess we haven't really investigated the painting yet. So let's just take a look here. Oh, nope, I guess we have looked in there. Let's keep this pinned and then... Let's see here. Are we sure it's not inside the painting? Guess not. Okay, so... If there is another suspect, who could it be? Yeah, I think there's some connection between this and the mention in Brian's speech that the chief was in a bad mood. What if it is like the doppelganger killed him somehow? Are we missing a statement somewhere? Okay, so what are we missing here? I wonder if we can, like, use this to suggest that it's Medan. No such luck. Alright. Okay, wait, do we have any trace on who touched the ball? Guess not. Gotta be something to do with the rubber ball being covered by a cloth, maybe? No, Okay, so we're clearly missing something here. The shoes were worn recently. I still say there's something going on with this. Okay, so looking for here. Maybe it's something about the documents that Redfin's put away. I don't know. I'm kind of guessing at this point. Apparently not. Okay, so it definitely isn't the flower. It feels like there's something with that flower, but I can't figure out how someone would have plucked any petals from it yet. Oh, there's a secret safe. Maybe there's something there. Somehow completely forgot about that, like, big, bolded red header. That may be it. A place we haven't investigated yet. Really? Where? I don't know, yet I'm sure it exists. What's that supposed to mean? Give us a proper explanation. Why is there no one who explains things when you can understand them all at once? The note the sergeant restored contains information about the staff the chief owned and displayed here, but that's not all that was written there. I see. There was a note about storing the paper in a secret safe. A secret safe? Then there may be a new clue to be found there. A clue? Do you really think that? There's no guarantee it's even in this room. No, the chief only believed in himself. He'd never hide anything where someone else could get their filthy paws on it. Besides, his note contained information on his staff. If you think about it in terms of convenience, there's a high likelihood he'd store the list in the same place as the staff. Then speak up. Is there a place where he might have stored a safe? None of the data you've collected points to a place like that. No, it may. Perhaps we were just a little confused. I should show him. There's a clue that shows where he may have been hiding things. Yeah, I'm still convinced the secret safe was that space behind the wall. It's like... Actually, you know what? Yeah, because when Thena went in, it put her face on it, but the chief had only put a hand on it. No matter how hard I think about it, there's simply no better place to hide something than behind that painting. But didn't Thena already investigate behind it? Right, and the place was completely empty. The painting is quite large, but didn't Detective Thena say it was so narrow that there was only space back there for one person? Then there's another space back there we haven't investigated. If you check out the trace photo, you'll see that there's some space between the chief's handprints and the trace Thena left earlier. So if we put our hand to where the chief touched and push... Good, I've got something. That paper. It's the original of the paper Sarge restored, huh? As expected, this is the secret safe the chief used. Note, is there anything else in there? There are 2 file folders stashed here. Looks like they're filled with documents. One looks like case files, and the other... the Tetrapod Project. Ooh, that smells like government secrets. Madan is about to be very unhappy. Ooh, the contents of the folder. Hold up, give that here. Huh? Alright. It's genuine. The Detective Chief Inspector was far more dangerous than I thought. That's enough of that. Now I can rest easy. Huh? What'd you just do? That's evidence we just found. What does it look like I did? That was a classified document, something that shouldn't have been in here. So I got rid of it. You can't be serious, that was evidence. Any person who reads those files has to be eliminated. Would you have been okay with that? How about you? Would you have been okay with that? Pardon? Whatever was written there, you were forced to hide it. Your actions prove that. The victim had that information, and you knew that he had it beforehand. Chief Madan, from the things you said before, it sounds like you're quite familiar with Detective Brian's skill. You know about Detective Thena's and the Sergeant's skills as well. Then, with all the boxes a person has to check to be a suspect, that would include you, wouldn't it? Well, I guess it would. No. What? Wasn't Madan? We have footprints we think the culprit planted at the scene of the crime, but no prints leaving. Neither Detective Thena nor the Sergeant could have pulled something like that off. Chief Madan, would you mind explaining your skill? I don't have one. Excuse me. Note, Madan's no staffer. Bureau doesn't appoint staffers as chiefs. Couldn't you have figured that out after working here 2 whole months? No need for snide remarks. Given our security clearance, isn't it a given for him not to know? Clearance. Does that word even mean anything to that child? Well, it's clear that he simply doesn't want to dig too deep. He doesn't want to get too closely involved with the Bureau. Are you going to be a bystander forever, stubbornly refusing to make a choice? Stop changing the subject. You've got the same charges leveled at you that you were throwing our way. The same charges? You'd only be able to make them stick if you had evidence that I knew the victim had that file. I didn't even know about his secret stash. If I knew beforehand and committed that crime, I would have taken those documents with me, no? I think it's safe to say Madan didn't know the location of the chief's stash. But is it true we have nothing on him? Even if we didn't know about the stash, there's a chance he knew the chief had that document. So, what do we got to show that Madan was a stinking rat-bastard liar? Let's see. Ooh, I wonder if the chief was threatening him with the release of that info. Aha. Perhaps the chief told you about it first. Are you serious? My apologies, but he's normally serious in these cases. I'm always serious. The chief told... Oops, sorry, kick up there. The chief told you about the documents first. Then he held them over your head as a threat. You're just throwing claims out there. What are you basing this on? The chief left you a message on his notepad. I think he was still working on it. I can't be sure who the recipient was supposed to be, but it went something like this. Even if I were to vanish, don't let your guard down. I can always unveil the documents. The documents? The chief was threatening someone with the documents he had. And right when you laid eyes on the documents the chief had hidden away, you burned them. Is it really so strange to think his letter has something to do with you? What documents are you referring to again? You little? Are you really going to play dumb in this situation? All this is because we saw you light those documents on fire. Indeed, and we refers to the three prime suspects and their colleague. Have you always been like this? I always focus on doing the best I can. You're right. Proving the existence of those documents is going to be difficult now. I'll give you that. But note, you said there was another folder hidden in there too, right? You said case files? That's right, I haven't got a good look at them yet, but this looks like a medical record, maybe a doctor's note. And is this a statement from Chief Madan? Hold up, note, that statement. These documents, when were they written? They were all written for a case 2 years ago on October 20th. He killed his brother and Chief was blackmailing with it. Case closed. 2 years ago. October 20th. Of course. Damn. Why is everyone reacting like this? It's not just Chief Madan. It's Detectives Thina and Brian, too. Are we finally gonna get a flashback? Come to think of it, 2 years ago... Madan, it looks like there's another file for you to burn, yes? You know nothing. Sergeant, what in the world happened 2 years ago? Seriously, do I really have to explain it like this? Andy, you don't exactly have to go into all the details. Detective Thina? No. Even without all this, I was going to explain it to him. Note, I want you to know. Note, I'm going to explain everything, and I want you to listen very carefully. I feel like Madan's just, at this point, Madan's just going to pull out a gun and shoot her before she can start talking, because there's too much build-up. Because this was the case that changed my life. Okay, no, we're getting an actual flashback. Right? These stay forever. Yes, we know it's the Man Affairs Division. We've been here for 5 levels. I'm back. Good work out there. I see you two finished early as well. Good work to you too. No, work is money after all, so it's really the least I can do. Despite all our efforts, we only solved 1 case to your 5, Pandy. Don't flatter me. It'd be odd if I couldn't do at least that with all the memories I read. It's hardly fair to say that all your hard work comes from your skill alone. So, you should be honest with yourself and accept the compliment, Pandoria. After all, the active role you play is all thanks to you being in the company of such a skilled investigator as myself. Where on earth does all this confidence come from? Just today, you wasted all that time getting yourself stuck in a ventilation shaft. True, but sometimes to get the complete truth, you have to take 1 step back and take 2 forward. You know that, right? And the culprit almost escaping is 1 step. I guess we took 3 steps back for that one, but even such an amazing investigator can make mistakes. This is just a theory of mine, but what's more important than finding the right way immediately is the ability to turn around when you're on the wrong path. Again with your theories. though you do have a way with words. Still, sounds like a hard day at work, Johnny. I'm sure the two of you had a rough day as well. Is that it for the cases handed over to us? Looks that way. We finished quite early today. Great. As the Americans say, Thina, give me some skin. Oh, awesome. Hell yeah. Come on, you two. Caucasus. Oh, I keep forgetting that's his first name. Oh, indeed. And Pandoria. No thanks. Somehow makes me look less intelligent. Hahaha, touche. John Madan. He was a detective who worked with us 3 years ago, back when the Mana Affairs Division was first formed. In the beginning, it was just him and I. At first, he was praised among those in the investigations department, but honestly, his detective skills were only a bit better than Brian's, so I didn't think he was all that spectacular. His penetrative vision skill wasn't all that unique either. It helped during investigations, but compared to the skills everyone else had, it wasn't extremely useful. Still, he was oddly skilled when it came to leadership. Oh, is this the case the two of you solved today? Huh. What's wrong? Did something strike you as odd about it? No, you did good detective work, but about the victim's daughter. If you check her next of kin, it doesn't look like there will be anyone left to look out for the girl. You're right. That fact bothered me too. There's this orphanage I know. You think I can recommend she be sent there? Of course, it has no connection to the Bureau. Sounds like a plan. I'll have to ask her opinion on the matter. But she'll probably like the sound of it. Alright, I'll get in contact with the orphanage. Why do you always give us more work? It's been a while since we finished up this early. Haha, sorry. I'm sorry, I actually skipped a line. I was born with this personality. Indeed, and it's a personality I'd love to emulate. Where would that leave me, then? I'll call the little girl. Oh, thanks. I solved the cases. In fact, I can say with confidence that out of all the people I'd met, no one could solve a case faster than me. But John always sought the people behind the cases. He always did what he thought was best. Without John, investigations would be no different than the other departments of the Bureau. He made our division what it is today. I, on the other hand... Sorry to butt in like this. Hello. Been a while, Chief Inspector of Operations. Oh, who's this now? Chief? No. Is that really you, Thina? What's with that reaction? Sorry. To see such a playful grin on your face, I never would have imagined it after your time in probations. Fortunately, this division seems like a good fit. Yes, I'm glad I followed your recommendation, Chief. Thank you. How long are you going to call me Chief? We've got a new Chief now. I mean, Detective Chief Inspector doesn't do all that much, but, I guess that makes you Bernard to me, or, Bernie? If you ever call me that, I'll kill you myself. Just call me Madan. Bernard, I'm a Madan too. Wouldn't that make things confusing? Doesn't everyone around here already call you Johnny? Haha, well, you got me there. You've been stopping by quite a lot, haven't you? Here to see me? Not on your life, so don't even ask. I'm here on other business. Brian. Me? Yes, it's about the matter we discussed before. If you'd just follow me to operations. Sarge, I'll be right back. Understood. I should be delivering that message about the orphanage. Call me if you need anything. John. Yeah, what is it? Your name came out of a certain person's mouth. You should stop your digging. Yep, thanks for the advice. I'll keep it in mind. I certainly hope so. Stubborn as an ass. What's he talking about? Pandoria. Haven't you ever gotten curious about all this? I mean, what do they do with the criminals we catch? What do you mean? We send them to the Bureau's detention facility, but we don't even know where that is. You remember the first criminal we ever caught? We brought him in for petty theft, right? Well, he was released recently, so I went and saw him. I asked him what his time in detention was like, but he wouldn't say a word. It wasn't that he was hiding it from me, it was more like he didn't have a single memory of his time in there. It was like he fell victim to a skill. If there really exists a phenomena that wipes memories, that's at least an SDN class threat level, and in certain cases... An Oppenheimer could do it. There's got to be something that would be capable of such a feat. If that's the case, I'm of the same opinion as your brother. You should stop digging into this. No good will come from us as staffers getting too involved with the Bureau. Haha, very sensible, but Can I ask you one favor? No. Read my brother's memories. I said no. How about you listen to people when they talk to you? Pandoria, I want to help people. You're already doing that. You're right, I'm helping people who get caught up in the cases we investigate. But what about the criminals we catch? Are we really leading them down the correct path? And if we're not, they brought it on themselves. That's true for most, but that's not everyone we bring in. There are others who were merely pushed out of society or meddled with things they shouldn't have. You know that, right? There may be others apart from us who help those who get caught up in these cases, but who's helping the people who already fell from grace? That may be something only we're capable of. If the people we bring in for corrections are treated unjustly, I have to know. Of course, you always have to know. Yet the finding out part is always my job. I'm sorry, I won't force your hand in this. It's your choice. My choice. You know what? Ever since my skill came to light, nothing in my life has ever been my choice. My whole life has been nothing but being dragged along by the people actually doing the choosing. It wasn't even my choice to become a sergeant. It should have been you, not me, in this role. I just went along with your choice. With the slightest touch, I could find out most any truth I wanted to. But I had no idea what truth I was supposed to find out. But unlike the me from back then, I can help people, and I've never been happier. It's all because I went along with your choice. So I guess this is nothing new. I'll do it. Thank you, partner. Alright, Bernard's in a meeting, so there's no one here. If we're going to do this, now's our chance. But why exactly am I reading the memories of the Chief Inspector of Operations? I've asked him about this before. He's got the look of someone who knows something. Also, he recently started talking about the underground. He may have gotten an invitation to go down there. You should have told me before that this is related to the underground. We are going to get blackbagged so fucking fast. Sorry, you want to back out? Whatever. We've come this far. That is why you're my partner. What an absolute snake in the grass. So, let's get set up. My brother should be back soon. Is this really okay? We're pretty much betraying your flesh and blood. I mean, when it comes to Bernard, we've always been close, yet with a certain distance between us. We were separated as children since I was sent off to the Stafford training facility. Plus, he was always more interested in the public good than in family ties. So I'm totally fine doing this much. Let's be quick. Bernard Madan knows vaguely of what skill I carry. If I touch him, he's going to suspect me. I'm going to have to make up some sort of excuse for touching him. I've got to touch a few things around his office to investigate. Then I can find a way to do all this naturally. Alright, we had to do some pokey flashback time? Alright, let's get started. Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum. This is Bernard's folder. I always see him carrying it around when he has a job to do. Is that so? Let's see here. Is your brother seeing a doctor? I don't think so. At least I haven't heard anything about it. There's a doctor's note in this folder. Shall I read the memories from it? Ah, that's quite obvious. John, you really need to stop digging into this. You're about to open up the floodgates. Come on, floodgates, really? What's this then? A note from your psychiatrist? What are you doing with this? You were treated by a bureau-approved psychiatrist, right? There's nothing private anymore? You don't need this paper to tell you that. Isn't that why you sought out treatment? Your compulsion is getting steadily worse. You care deeply for people you have no jurisdiction over. You should be looking out for yourself. The Mana Affairs Division is doing all right now, though. That should be enough to satisfy you. I am satisfied with that. Actually, I'm more than satisfied. My colleagues are different from the people in operations. They're special. How should I put this? They're like family to me. Yet I want to know more. The results of the work done on those people. I can't just stop. Even if it costs you your life. That's a given. John. You found me out. How much did you hear? Just a little. That's a relief. Tempers flared that day. don't worry. Isn't that always the case with family? Then you heard everything. Yep, took one for the team. What else we got here? Ooh, a teapot. That kettle. We have one just like it in our office. It's even the same color, huh? Didn't Brian buy the one for our office? Now that you mention it, your brother really liked the tea we served him when he dropped by our office. I would have bought him one if he asked, but the soup's so low. Let's see here. Smells like black tea, just like the tea in our office. Seems like it's been getting steady use recently. We might be able to use that. Okay, and... Ooh, he's got a nice painting too, and a coat rack. These are all of Bernard's jackets. He should organize them. Let's have a look. Out of all his jackets, he only touches this one. It seems he's only been using this thick jacket recently. It is quite cold for October. So if you've got to touch him, it might be good to use this coat. Alright, let's see if we can make this work. Bernard should be coming up soon. Let's get everything ready. If we over-prepare, though, he'll get suspicious. It'll be better to pick just one item to use. So, Pandoria, it's time to choose. So I'm not sure which one of these is best. I'm going to say some dust on the coat. I'll aim for the moment he puts on his coat. I can pretend I'm dusting off his jacket and make contact. Though I'm not sure if Madame knows I can read memories through clothes. He's coming. Sergeant? John? Ah? Caucasus? What are you doing here? I was just about to ask that same thing. What are you doing in operations? I have a meeting scheduled with the Chief of Operations, but he said he was going to be late finishing up another meeting, so I should wait in his office. Come to think of it, Bernard did stop by our office to look for Brian yesterday. I'm concerned regarding what this meeting might be about, but I don't have time to fixate on that right now. I see the two of you have business with the Chief as well. Yes, we did have business to discuss with him, right, Pandoria? Sure. I wonder how that needless lie is going to come back to bite me in the butt. Then would you like a cup of tea while we wait? No thanks, I'll pass. Brian's likely to put a spanner in the works if he hangs about. What should we do? John, get him out of here. Huh? Brian, come to think of it, I had something I wanted to tell you. About the case? About the orphanage. Our methods are more complicated than I thought, so I think you're going to need my help. Got some time? Yes, but now Don't worry, I'll let the Chief know something's come up. I'll leave you to it then. Good luck. Okay, I hope I didn't fuck this up. Should I have saved before I made those choices? Yep. Sergeant Redfins. Hello, sir. That's a first, to be coming all this way to see me. Have you perhaps seen Brian? He was called away on urgent business and said he'd be late. He sent me to pass along the message. Is that so? Were you going to make a cup of tea? Oh, please excuse that. It's just so much like the one in our office. I accidentally moved it. The kettle was a gift from Brian. I do like it, but I try not to let it show. That man can be rather burdensome at times. Indeed, but I do believe it not to be brown-nosing, but genuine compassion on his part. Ah, of course, he is the sort. I'd love to stay and share a cup of tea, but I think my next meeting's going to run long. I've just come to pick up some documents and be off. Could you tell Brian to swing by again, too? Of course. Thank you. I'll be seeing you then. Your coat. Won't you be needing it? My meeting's indoors, so that should be rather obvious. Right, obvious. Obvious indeed. Well, let's share a cup of tea next time. There's something I've been meaning to ask regarding John. What's obvious is that I screwed up. Maybe I had a better option. Okay, is there a way to go back? Okay, so I can redo this. There's a lot of talk about the tea, so I think that's something. If I heat up the handle, it'll make him spill his tea. And if I move to wipe up the spill, it'll look natural. He's coming. Okay, so same as before, probably. I probably should have ripped the folder or something. I'm gonna grab that. Oh wait, hold on. It's fine, he told me to put it on the kettle. Besides, I'm the one who brought the kettle tea. Ouch, that's hot. What should we do? What do you think? We messed up, huh? I think I made the wrong choice back there. Okay, so yeah, I was like, that should be wrong. Okay, so I ripped the folder, and I have, what's-his-face escort him out. John said Bernard is always carrying this folder around. If we're going to mess with something, it should be this. If we rip this edge right here... He's coming. Now we get Bernard again. Or, sorry, Brian again. Skip forward, skip forward. Have John escort Brian out. So that we can be in the office when he gets here. Sergeant Redvins. Hello, sir. Yep, I think we, already went through this. Skip forward a bit. I've just come to pick up some documents and be off. Tell Brian. Ugh, bloody hell, I'm in too much of a rush. Let me help you clean this up. Thank you. Just like I planned. Now I've just gotta act like I'm picking up these up and brush my hand against. Ooh, we saw some big. Didn't you say you were going to help? What? That. Sorry. Ooh, she got hit so bad it changed her eye color. There's this urgent matter, and I just thought of a clue. I must be getting back. Of course. Hard work as always. Indeed. We have witnessed the horrors. Damn it all. Couldn't I have thought up a better excuse? I mean, I could have just left when Bernard left. However, if I'd stayed in that room... The documents in Bernard's memory. Could they be real? What on earth? What have I done? What on earth have I done? Pandoria, how'd it go? You pulled it off? I don't know how to cope with this truth, but for John... John, from this point on, I don't want you to say a word. I just want you to listen. Right now, I don't think I can do anything but tell you the complete and honest truth. And watch this fucking flashback cut away right before we get the big reveal. Okay. We, and I mean all of us at the Mana Affairs Division, are part of some top-secret project. It's a tyrannical project run by none other than the head of the Bureau, Herman Mond. It's all for this tetrapod project. The project's goal? To combine hundreds and thousands of phenomena into one skill that will target the entire world. A skill to extinguish mana worldwide. Huh? If they were actually able to pull that off, it would solve one of the world's greatest problems. But to accomplish the goal of their project, they need hundreds of staff and staffers at the very least. The project needs materials, and phenomena events most often manifest as staffers who stumbled over that one real bad. They need to be able to freely experiment on them and then dispose of them when those experiments go wrong. But even though this is the Bureau we're talking about, they couldn't just grab staffers ranked SDN and lower. Plus, the terrorists caught by operations and the staff disposed of by materials just wasn't cutting it. To expedite the project, they needed more supply. To increase that supply, they established the Mana Affairs Division of the London branch. The criminals we've been catching have been used as free supply materials for the Bureau's project. Thank God we actually do get the reveal. Why go through all this? Because they feel they have to hurry, for the sake of this world. They think it could end at any moment. They call the threat level Noah, and it exists. Noah? A phenomena so great it would wash over the world like the Great Flood, so they named it Noah. Thus, they wish to build their seawall as quickly as possible to stop that wave. Well then, in the very beginning, our world... John? Thank you, Pandoria. I feel a lot better knowing. Of course, he's unshaken. I finally know what the feeling I get when I'm around you is. It's not yearning, it's jealousy. That's why I feel all this hate for you burning inside, for leading me straight into this truth. I detest you. You'll take this case in stride and be better for it. I'm not sure about me, though. I'm not sure if I can keep helping you. Oof. Big reveal. Oh, dear lord. Someone got unpersoned real quick. Huh? We, gently opened the door and, what are you doing over there? I don't think he's fastening his necktie, Pandorica. No. You're different. What happened? Now, show me. Okay. I'm not voicing the scream. I can't do that. Andy, what happened? Johnny? No. What on earth? Lord, what is it? What did you say? Nothing. I see nothing. Nothing. Oh boy. Where am I? Andy, you're awake? Athena, where's John? He's not there anymore. They took him to the morgue. Ryan's with him, so don't you worry. Right, John is... They ruled it suicide. As punishment for causing so much commotion in the Bureau, security clearance for our division has been downgraded. What have I done? However... You're too much of a dummy, so I thought you should have a look at these instead. Has a lot of Bernard's fingerprints. Case files. What's this, though? How did this happen? Come in. Oh, back on your feet? That's relief. We can't have you missing the funeral. What did you do? Well then, I guess you're not here to pay your respects concerning what happened to my little brother. Why are your prints on the rope John was hanging from? I think you've got the wrong idea. I'm sure I told both Athena and Brian. That rope was originally mine. Of course you're going to say that, but according to the documents I have... Yep. Let's point out the obvious contradiction here. Like, obviously there's a lie there. Okay, hold on. I feel like there's several here. John's footprints, John fingerprints. Okay, so... Yeah, so he touched the rope right before the suicide, or... Okay, I feel like it's got to be something with the obvious lie in the transcript. Okay, there we go, it's that second one. Same vibe, just wrong note. You did say in your statement that you lent the rope to John. What? So you knew this whole time? However, Athena detected an abnormal heartbeat during your testimony. An abnormal heartbeat? Ah, I see. That girl, Athena, she did say she figured out a new trick. I forgot about that. Have I crossed over to the criminal side now? What are you talking about? What do you think I'm talking about? Isn't that the reason you came? It was me. I killed John. Oh, so we're not proving that. Why? Because he tried to dig too deep. You've been at the Bureau long enough that I shouldn't have to explain it to you. John made his choice. He wanted to know everything, even if it killed him. So I had a choice to make too. At least with killing him, it prevented the truth from getting out. After all, it's the world's last chance for survival. And in my family, we respect each other's choices. My God, what are you even saying? Go shout from the mountaintops if that's what you want. After all, it wasn't my sin alone. Nothing will change. It'll only be your neck on the chopping block. I won't have any more business up here on the ground floor regardless. Yours will probably be the last face I see up here. Enjoy your stay, but I would recommend keeping your mouth shut as best you can. Okay, so what do we do now? Like, all we managed to do is find a secret that'll get us unpersoned. Not really any leverage we can use at the moment. I see. That's why. What's going on? Why am I just standing here? Where am I even supposed to go? John's gone now. There's no one left to use me. No one left to lead me around on my leash. Now, is it time for me to make the choices? I get it now. The reason why you were laughing. If you can't laugh it off like it's nothing, this world becomes too painful to live in. So even now, I can't stop laughing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've always lived like that. Every time the world let me down, I would always laugh instead of cry. It's clear to me now, I never wanted this moment to come. Okay, so where does that leave us is the issue. Because, like, what do we do now? Oh, are we still in the flat? Oh, no, we're back here. It says present. That is the truth of what happened 2 years ago. Are you insane, woman? If you did know about the project, why would you talk about it here? Do you want there to be a mass suicide? My apologies, but we heard about the Noahs yesterday from the Cabinet Secretary himself. Notes finding out about that project just changes the number of reasons to kill us from 1 to 2. But what's this mean for you? Documents from a case you pleaded guilty to 2 years ago turned up in the late chief's secret stash. So again, what do you think this means for you? It's just as you say. My reasons for resorting to killing went from 1 to 2. You couldn't have. No. How could you? So what if I did kill the chief? So what if I ended his life to shut his fat mouth? The 1 hour promised he was up. This is me we're talking about, though. A person from the underground. No matter how much you wriggle and writhe, you'll see no punishment for me. That's the case for now. However, is that really it? Pardon? Note, where's this coming from now? You look like you're in one of your solving moods. It's just strange is all. For both the case 2 years ago and the one right now, if nothing bad comes from fessing up to the murders, why go through all the trouble to hide them? There's no noble blood in my veins. Of course I have to hide my shady dealings. What is this, anyway? On my side all of a sudden? Don't tell me, are you about to say that all of this wasn't my doing? Oh no, you definitely fabricated the suicide 2 years ago. But you weren't acting alone. You had an accomplice. Didn't you? Note? What are you saying? The documents from the case 2 years ago that the chief hid away clearly point to Bernard Madan for this, but that's not the end of it. Within these documents, an odd contradiction is hiding. Alright, let's dig around, figure this out. There's something I'm missing here. So someone helped him with the murdering. Wait, his fingerprints were on the rope at 9 and at 9:05. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Pin these for now. We'll see if we can figure some... No, wait, not this one, the other one. There's no lie here. That's odd. Okay, guess not. Yeah, this seems like something he should be stressed about. I guess not. Yeah, it said he had an accomplice, so there's something funky here. Give me a second here. Let me unpin this. I wonder if one of these guys is the accomplice. I wonder if Brian's the accomplice, because where's Bernard's fingerprints? Hold on a second. Let me actually just check. Wait a minute. Is it something to do with, like, the fingerprints from... Madane's fingerprints from 1 month before? Yeah, he said he used that rope before. "2 years ago, you gave this statement right here. You said the rope Detective John Madane hung himself with was yours. Did I? Yes, but during that part, an abnormal heartbeat was detected. Ah, yes, I found a new rope to do the deed with. Is that so? If that were the case, why were your prints left on the rope? 1 month before." Well, I couldn't tell you why for sure. Note, it's not that I don't find that strange as well, but that contradiction means little in and of itself. Right, it means nothing at all. That has no bearing on the charges being leveled at Chief Madane. But why the contradiction? To put it in other words, it seems like an error in the document. An error? That's right. It's either the trace photo or the witness statement. One of them's got to be wrong. In fact, the error was probably part of the fabrication. A fabrication so good, only the detective who wrote out the document would be able to tell. I think the falsified part must be this one right here. I think it's gotta be Brian. Because, like, Thena could have just not written the lies. Couldn't it? It's something to do with Madane's fingerprints. I guess not. Okay, so. Let's look at here and here. Alright, no, here and here. I think it's got to be something with the trace photo. Like on the witness statement, it said he lied when he said that he used the rope before. But let me just... Hold on a second, let me check the history. What exactly do we prove? So he's... The heartbeat statement says that he lied about owning the rope. I think it's... someone else's rope, but then... I think probably John's fingerprints. It's like, it's gotta be something to do with the trace photo. I swear. Like, I know Thena's the crazy one, but who does, like, extrajudicial killings and stuff, but I feel like it makes more sense for the trace to be manipulated than the witness statement. It's like, if Thena was trying to throw off suspicion, she could have just not recorded the heartbeat, and he didn't know she could record the heartbeat, from what he said, so I think it's something to do with this. I think maybe it's 8 o'clock. I think someone else killed John. No? Really? It's... Maybe it's the fingerprints after the murder? There's got to be some part of this, I feel like. Footprints, then? Okay, so I've tried every part of the trace photo. I feel bad about this. Okay, let's unpin this. This, the heartbeat, maybe. Okay, I'm confused here. It's getting close to time, and I want to speed this along to try and finish it tonight, so I'm going to give in and use a hint, because I'm stumped here. Okay, so it is the witness statement. So then is it this one? Like, I don't see why it makes sense that it would be the witness statement and not the... I mean, it makes sense that Thena would be doing the murder, but... The abnormal heartbeat detected here. That must be the error. Isn't that right, Detective Thena? Thena? The sergeant was just coming to after the shock, and it was Detective Thena who gave her the document. Something about what she said, it makes it seem like there's more behind this story. The abnormal heartbeat detected here looks different from the ones Detective Thena usually notes down, huh? Day's finally come. Just can't pull the wool over Note's eyes, can I? Thena, what did you do? What are you all talking about? Messing up a document like that can only mean... That's right. Adan's statement was no lie. In the end, no one could simply murder Detective John. Thena? Sorry. I really am sorry. If I didn't do it, Pandy, you would have thought you killed him yourself. Chief Bernard Adan, with Detective Thena's help, you fessed up to setting up the murder 2 years ago, right? You fessed up, but you still left yourself enough room so you could wiggle out of it if need be. After all, you only admitted you did it to the sergeant. Even now, we're only pointing out the possibility you did it, and you're just playing along at being the culprit. Just like 2 years ago, to hide the truth. You've ruined everything, and it was going so well. You're all just like my damned brother. I was instructed by the Bureau not to punish the lot of you. All we had to do was disband this division, then no more punishment would be needed. Then you say you've got to investigate, digging into the past, and here I am pulling out my hair thinking I'm going to kill myself trying to get in your way. Do you know how shameful it was doing all of this to protect a culprit I didn't even know the identity of? But that's only if one of us is the culprit. If we're all innocent, you won't have to do that. I wish that were the case. Huh? Anyway, Redfins. Cut the crap. Seriously, stop with this nonsense. You think I'm going to believe anything you have to say? I'm sorry. I thought I could paint myself as the ill-fated protagonist, shouldering the burden, and I thought I was satisfied with that. You caught me the one time, so I didn't think we'd be pulled into this again. I was tired enough of it. Redfins, John really did kill himself. Seriously, cut the... That's actually a pretty clever twist. Andy. Don't touch me! Oh, that's why she broke down. That's why she said she saw nothing. Right, we just need more evidence. I'll just have to investigate the crime scene once more. Note, I'll leave this to you. Keep your spork flipped. Sergeant, it must be so painful to know you were believing a falsified truth for 2 whole years. But for her... Sergeant, you're carrying out an investigation based on emotions alone. Aren't we all supposed to be tools? Note, that was something John told me. I was just following his lead. Clearly, I'm not who you think I am. Then the person I met up on that balcony yesterday, was that not you either? Can't you just let me win a single time? Sergeant? Note, even if I'm not around, you keep asking questions. That's not a good sign. That's a very bad sign. And that's how things stand. Always so quick to act. I wouldn't have seen him again anyway since I was heading underground. Couldn't even respect his older brother enough to... I'm sorry. As his colleague, I should have suspected sooner. He hid where his head was at from me, too. If you had figured it out first, that would have just been sad. Seriously, even yesterday it seemed like nothing was the matter. Yesterday, Redfins read my memories. According to Brian, she was with John, so it was probably he who put her up to it. He discovered the secrets locked away in my memories, but he couldn't handle the truth, and here we are. Not the rarest of reactions. Then, Andy. No matter how you look at it, she was the one who pulled his trigger. At least, that's how she'll see it. Andy. I mean, that is a problem, but more important is her safety. What? Is Pandy in danger? A lot of the documents I've been exposed to recently are top-secret underground files. If the boss were to suspect, and if he were to find out about Redfins... He can't! If that happens, then I lose Pandy too. Calm down. I know what you're scared of. Thankfully, the situation isn't that bad yet. After all, Redfins couldn't read John's memories. If you help me out, we can ensure Redfin's safety and relieve her of the burden of her guilt. Will you help? Sure. I'll just head back to operations for a while. Good. Then we'll make me the culprit. What? You just took my statement, right? Just manipulate part of it. Make it look like I lied to hide my crime. After that, show it to Redfins once she regains consciousness. Redfins won't be in the best state of mind, so she won't suspect the document, and she'll immediately suspect me as the culprit. She won't hold herself responsible for John's death, and she won't have any reason to spread the information she took from my mind. I'll head down to the underground and stay there. I'll report to my superiors that John had to be taken care of because he stole classified documents. It's perfect. Why are you doing all of this? For Pandy? I talked to John 2 days ago. He said you all are like family to him. He said that right in front of me, his actual family member. I still wonder what he meant by that, but there's no way for me to figure that out now. It's just, I want to be included in that group, as that dummy's actual family member. Aw, Eden's not such a dick waffle after all. I'll sacrifice my own life for the people he cherished. At least, that's what I want to think. Andy, she would never want me to do this. But your suggestion is enticing, only because I want to protect her. So, I'll play the criminal, and I'll become a traitor. As always, I'm simply the worst colleague. Jeez. Okay, so now what? What do we do from here? Sorry, Madame. I guess I was the worst colleague for you too. You never did follow my orders. That's nothing new. Madame, why'd John kill himself? Ever since he was an officer in operations, John has had this compulsion to help people. During his time in operations, he was forced to bring harm to people, so it was probably defiance of his position that led him to be like this. He simply couldn't stand the paradox of it all. That's when he began his work to save as many lives as he could. That's actually why I sent him to this budding division in investigations. By that you mean the Mana Affairs Division. That's right. There he was able to get along with you lot and help people, so it seemed to calm his mental illness. However, that's also when he began to sense that there was something odd in the way the criminals were treated, and he relapsed into his old ways. Then when he found out about the project and the Noahs, damn him, he just couldn't leave it alone. However, it's simply not something one man can have an effect on. After all, it deals with the absurdity this world is built upon. He couldn't handle it. That's why he gave up. I never thought him capable of it. Then that means you knew your brother was suffering from a mental illness? Yes, that's what I just told you. Then... Wait a minute, that document. What's going on? If that's true, then what on earth is this? Yeah, the clean bill of health. Something's going on here. Is Madame being a dick waffle after all? Then what about this doctor's note? The doctor's note? This was in the folder with the documents about the case 2 years ago. It's from the psych clinic. Apparently, John went to see a psychiatrist. This is a record of his visit. I've been thinking about this for a while, but take a look at the middle part. It says there's nothing wrong with him. Is that something the chief had? Something from his secret stash? How is that possible? Didn't you say John had a mental illness? He did, and I checked it out myself, but this isn't John Madan's medical record. What? Then whose is it? There's only one person it could be. Only one person involved in the case 2 years ago with any sort of mental problem. And the person's name... Ooh... I think it's Redfin's. Because she's definitely got some issues going on. Yeah, she's got that whole thing where she doesn't touch people. I think there's something going on with her. My mouth won't open. Why was this doctor's note kept there? Note? You froze. Does that mean no one comes to mind? No, I've got the person, but... Let's calm down. We don't know all the facts yet. We're still in the middle of an investigation. It's not time to worry about a future that's still up in the air. The sergeant received that shock 2 years ago, and hasn't been able to touch people since, right? That's true, but note, why exactly are you bringing up the sergeant now? There's no one else here who might have a mental disease. Even if they did, it wouldn't be held against them as a sign of weakness. Note? But the sergeant being unable to touch people, that could be considered a mental disease, right? Note, are you serious? When it comes to investigations, I'm always serious. I'm not sure where this is going, and I'm very confused. You know that. I don't want to say it either. However, I can't help but entertain the possibility. After all, that's how the Sarge taught me. Note, that was something John told me. I was just following his lead. There's a possibility that the sergeant may have lied about having a mental illness. She may actually be able to touch people. And also, she may have been threatened by the chief because of that. Note, you know what you're implying? I do. I'm well aware. Oh, she might be the killer. But if the Sarge really did lie about touching people, what's that mean for us? If we look at the big picture, we can find two reasons for it. Okay, so... I know part of it is, obviously, she... Okay, so I assume it's like because she here. So it might be something she doesn't want people to know she can do that, so that they don't unperson her, maybe? Something to do with the notebook, maybe? Nope. Maybe she touched John while he was still alive, or something. I'm not sure. I'm feeling rather lost here. Okay, so... Or maybe it's just because she was in the office here. Okay. We're off to a not great start. Oh, it's because she... Something to do with this? Oh, yeah, like the visual thing. I was just trying to figure out how to word it. The sergeant's skill allows her to read the memories of anything she comes in contact with. Also, when she touches a person, she's able to see through the eyes of that person to gain their visual memories. And until today, she was quite adamant that she couldn't see visuals. She said it was because she couldn't touch another person's body. But what if she can? It'd be like before. She could look back on the crucial moments of a case, right? Yes, perhaps. No, if that's her only goal in this, she wouldn't need this excuse about not touching people. She'd just have to pretend she wasn't good at using her skill anymore. She couldn't pretend with that alone. She had another reason. And that reason has to do with you, Detective Thena. I should show her. Show her the reason why the sergeant can't touch people in its relation to Detective Thena. I've got one document that shows that. Oh, it's because she doesn't want Thena to catch her lying. Clever. Oh yeah, stream's definitely going to run long because I want to finish this up, so props to anyone who's hanging in there. I know this isn't the most popular. Yeah, we've got one person in here right now. Detective Thena, you're able to detect my... Oh, sorry, I accidentally skipped that. However you want to do that. When you want to do that, you need to be touching the same thing. Note? What are you? The pandy. Was avoiding my skill? I wish I was wrong about this. But if there's no information refuting it, there's no reason to dig any deeper. If you need an excuse not to touch you, there's none better than claiming a mental illness. The departed chief of investigations was holding onto that doctor's note. And we have circumstantial evidence that he was threatening someone. In other words, you have a theory. You think Redfins is the one who killed the chief, don't you? I consider the possibility. Don't be ridiculous. That trolley's already arrived at the station. I'm starting to sound like him. Listen carefully. If Redfins isn't your culprit, it's either Thena or Brian. Huh? Ever since you lot left the underground, I've had a man stationed at the entrance to investigations, instructed to track your movement. According to my man's report, you four were the only ones in that wing yesterday. That's why I was trying to block the truth from being revealed. John treasured these people, so I tried to make it look like I was the culprit, even though it wasn't the honorable thing to do. But you, what is your goal in all of this exactly? Before, when I tried to interfere with the investigation, you didn't bat an eyelash, but now you're acting sheepish? Whose side are you on? But Dad, you're going too far. No, let's let him think. After all, time's almost up. Detective Thena. Well, let's put a pin in that for now. We're still lacking proof. You're right, there's a very high possibility that Redfins was threatened, as you say. However, that doesn't mean she was the culprit. To return to our case, the culprit was able to enter the room by replicating the victim's footprints. But that's it. There were no footprints leaving the scene. It was Redfins herself that pointed that out. Also, as you know, hiding in that room was impossible for her, because the sergeant, she left the building with me last night. It's clear, from the documents we've gathered so far, it's impossible to put this crime on her. However, it's as it always is. The truths I uncover only change the world for the worse. But why is that? However, if one of the people we've investigated is our culprit, even though I know that, even with all the anxiety filling my body, it's quite possible that one of the documents has been altered or fabricated in some way. I'm not ready. I can't face my choices. If our culprit tricked us with this part, anyone could be the culprit. Yep, so we gotta figure out... Gonna be something to do with the trace evidence then. Let's see here. The memory survey of her. The dried flower. I had a feeling it was something to do with this. Of course, then the question is it her, or was she threatened into doing it and she's covering for someone? The dried flower. Yes, the dried flower that creates a replica. We thought no one had used it. We thought that way because the sergeant recorded in her memory survey that it hadn't been used in a while. However, if the sergeant made this part up, you mean if she's the culprit? Yes, and if that's the case, This memory survey is the fabrication. If she made use of certain properties the dried flower carries, she could have carried the body into the room without leaving any footprints going out. The property that would allow her to do so is written right here. It can't end like this, right? There's got to be like a surprise. I know the overwhelming theme of the game is, so far has been, yeah, solving all these mysteries just makes people miserable, but there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel, right? I know, I'm getting kind of burned out on this case, but I want to finish it tonight. It vanishes on its own. Though at the same time, I don't know, maybe the fact that the replica disappears after 30 minutes. Using this, the culprit could have pulled it off. When our culprit went in for that first meeting with the chief, they secretly stole both the dried flower and the rubber ball that served as the murder weapon. Then at 8:30, the culprit returned to the crime scene. However, it wasn't the real culprit. It was the replica created by the culprit with the help of the dried flower. It followed the orders the culprit gave, knocking on the door to lead the victim out of the room. Then, once the victim came out into the hallway, the culprit took the cloth off the ball, vaporizing the victim's heart. Then, the culprit grabbed the victim as he fell. The culprit lacked the strength to move the body, but that was no problem. The culprit just had to make 2 replicas. Then, the 2 culprits moved the body back into the room. Since they were already wearing the same shoes as the victim, which the culprit prepared beforehand, they were able to disguise their footprints to look like the victim's. After that, the 2 replicas went over to where the victim hung his clothes and waited until they disappeared. If the replicas were made about 20 minutes before, that would give them about 10 minutes to commit the crime before they disappeared. But then, okay, I don't think that can be it, because then, how would they second replica have disguised its footprints? After replacing the staff and heading to where the shoes were, the replicas disappeared. Then the only thing left in the room were the victim's footprints, just with something unusual about the victim's stride. That's why the footprints were like that. Why does it seem so plausible? To the very end, you refuse to name your culprit. So what are you planning to do about red fins? As I said before, bringing the investigation to a close changes nothing. But are the lot of you alright with that? Will you be able to treat red fins the same way you've always treated her? We can't postpone this any longer. It's time you made a choice, all of you. Cam. As for me, I would choose to cover this up, because I wouldn't see the person John opened his heart to in prison. Considering the threats, her actions were justified too. The threats. But after everything, I think this choice is out of my hands. If you don't decide this yourselves, you'll probably have to live with the regret for the rest of your lives. Then in the end, it was her, Pandy. No, isn't there anything else? There's gotta be something else, because we haven't done the hexalogic thing yet. Pandy couldn't have done that. Athena. Isn't that right? This isn't the end. Just like always, there's one more thing, right? Right? Athena, you've got to stop. Then all that's left now is... Note. The threats. The chief threatened Sergeant Redfin. All because the sergeant pretended to have a mental illness. How could that be turned into a threat? Why was that doctor's note in the folder with the case files from 2 years ago? Plus, what reason did the sergeant have for hiding the fact that she could use her skill on people 2 years ago? What was she thinking back then? What path did she choose to walk down? If in the very beginning she was able to read into people's pasts, in all the cases thus far... We're looking... No, what are you doing? That's where we gather all the cases we've solved. Oh, what are we doing? The murder at Trump Tower on October 20th. The murder at Woods on November 25th. The event at the Miller residence on December 10th. And then yesterday's murder on December 24th. In each of these cases, the sergeant, she always... Was she trying to stop people from getting sent to jail? This is gonna be wild, I bet. That'd be like all of her things, right? Note, are your thoughts still a mess? No, that face. He's already reached a conclusion. Sergeant, are you listening? I figured it out. Sergeant, I know what you wanted. I see. Finally, you're seeing the real me. Andy! Dina, I'm sorry about everything from before. And thank you. I've wanted to thank you for 2 years now. Bernard, I've made you carry a heavy burden. My apologies for that. You can't. John always talked about you. You too, Brian. Thank you. It was nothing. Yes, I'm including that too. I just want to say thanks. Okay. Someone go find her immediately. This is bad sign. This is like so many red flags here. Note, come to me. We don't have much time, so I'll talk while you walk. Is that okay? Yes. But that's not the way to the crime scene. She's not at the crime scene. She's at the depression balcony, which I think is about to get a lot more depressing. Pardon. I'll be back. Our conversation will continue by spork. If you want to hear, just keep your sporks upside down. Those who don't wish to hear can cover their ears. Neither choice is the wrong one. What's going to happen? One way or another, it seems that no one here truly knows the real Red Fins. And that's my fault, because 2 years ago, I lied to Pandy. I knew. There was no way not to. When Madan said all that, I could see it on your faces. The part about changing his statement, I figured that out later. This whole time, I knew, but I said nothing. That's not it. This whole time, every minute of it, I've been deceiving you. I am not liking the angle this is going. Walking animation looks a little silly, so that... I'm curious about one thing. Why'd you order me to investigate this case? If I hadn't ordered you to do it, would you have sat there quietly and done nothing? Of course not. I knew it was going to be like this, so I just made it look like I was actively taking part in the investigation. Because of that, you were able to fool the memory survey to hide the truth. Just as you've been doing this whole time. Sergeant, you've been able to touch people. Because of that, you've been able to see the images captured by the victims by touching their bodies. That changes everything. Not just with this case, but with the previous case, and the meaning of everything we've gone through. Oh, this looks like it might be a big reveal. Right, tell me what you're thinking. The case had trumped power from the first day I arrived. The one where the clown, Geller, killed the ringleader. There was one clue I didn't understand. The blood on the ceiling. That was the only clue not left by Geller's crime. Maybe it was a trap, a lure she constructed to interfere with our investigation. The victim had his propulsion skill. Thus, if the victim had actually used his skill to kill himself, it would have left that mark on the ceiling. And if the crime had been ruled as suicide, all the members of Trump Power would have been cleared of their charges. That was what Geller wanted, so she prepared her trap. But her trap was missing one thing. The victim's bureau file. We didn't have it, so we couldn't have known his skill. It would have been impossible to rule it a suicide. But it just so happened that you went to the gambling hall and got your hands on his bureau file. I'm sure you knew that the clue you were holding had nothing to do with the facts of the crime. After all, you knew Geller did it with a single touch. You knew, but you didn't tell us a thing. You left the scene of the crime to get his bureau file, and then when the investigation hit rough waters, you reminded me that the victim was a staffer. In the end, you were leading me to the conclusion that the victim committed suicide. Yeah, she was trying to, stop them from arresting staffers. It's not that I wanted you to ignore Geller's sins. It's just, I wanted it to be the police, not us, who brought her in. I didn't think her evil enough to be forced to take part in the project. I saw everything the victim did to Geller. His blows were only one small part of the abuse. Yet when Geller killed the victim, she was crying. Next, we went to Woods, the facility that handled creatures. You can't name it something that stupid and not have it ruin the tension. The culprit was Kendrick Hawes. He used the other suspects like chess pieces to kill his own boss. But Woods held one more secret, one unrelated to the truth of the case. The inhumane creature research being carried out in the underground lab. It was Nine Beck, the vice president, who was in charge of them. You accidentally came into contact with Beck. That was when you found out about the facility. Those atrocities came as so much of a shock to you that you hit Mr. Beck 2 times. Sergeant, you were afraid of what might happen if those secrets were to be revealed to the outside world. So when Detective Thena suggested we continue investigating, you tried to cut her off and end the investigation. In the end, you saw what effects leaking that information had. That was information that shouldn't have gotten out like that. You figured we could always arrest Hawes later on. Next was the accident really, at the Miller residence. It was a tragedy caused by the victim's own foolish behavior and the lack of communication between husband and wife. I'm not sure when it was that you touched Mrs. Miller, but you had plenty of time to do so. Brian and I arrived at the scene late, and Detective Thena was investigating the second crime scene. You knew the pain the truth of the case would bring to Mrs. Miller, so you tried to hand the case off to materials. Then during that investigation, Zad Varing ran off due to my mistake. The only thing you were doing there was trying to get me to give you an answer. But Brian and I continued our investigation. When we finally uncovered the truth, you tried to convince Brian and I to conceal that truth from Mrs. Miller. I still think not telling her was the right answer. However, Brian knew the truth as well, and he made his choice. I merely decided to respect his decision. It's dangerous to think I'm the only one with the right answers. Then there was the case yesterday, the murder with the Oppenheimers in the underground. With that one, it was hard to find the truth, even with your ability to read memories from corpses. It was also quite difficult for you to naturally graze against the suspect. But yesterday, you made your clearest move. When I was revealing the truth about Doug, you tried to deceive us by saying there was a memory on the memo left at the crime scene when the memory didn't exist, all in an effort to cover up the truth. Did I really want to save Doug? I'm still not sure. But considering how much you know about the Noahs, I had to do everything in my power to stop you. Yes, that was what was best for me. That's it. That's your secret. You find out the truth before everyone else, and if that truth turns out to be dangerous, you change it. You alter it until it's the ideal truth for you. For 2 years, Sergeant, ever since that fateful day, you've been carrying on just like this, haven't you? It's just like 2 years ago when Detective Thena hid the truth about the suicide for your sake. That's right, just like Brian also knew the truth and said nothing. Just like the people most precious to me did for me. However, I knew everything. That day of all days, it was impossible for me to see nothing. I saw it all. I saw him tie that noose around his own neck, and I saw how he swung back and forth like a pendulum. But because of this red light on my arm that won't ever come off, I couldn't continue on as if I knew nothing. But that was when I realized there was something I could do. After all that pain I lived through, I was going to keep it away from others. Note, it was good to hear all of your stories. When I heard the stories of all the suffering your wounds brought you, I felt like I wasn't alone in this world. Finally, we come to stand face to face. I'm starting to get scared. Is the person behind this door really the person I knew her to be? What's wrong, Note? You can start things off. Sergeant, aren't we detectives? Yes, we're detectives. But our job isn't about changing the world. The world doesn't change just because one person in this immense city feels despair. And even if we cling on to what hope we have to keep living, the world stays the same as it's always been. Note, I'm not trying to do something as grandiose as change the world. I'm only trying to help the people I can, those within my circle of influence. But that's not our job. You're right, but it's something only we can do. As the people who first find the truth and tell of it, we can help people. Even if the people don't want our help. The moment they want help is the same moment they find out the truth, but then we can't help them. We can't do anything to hold back the pain. We find out the truth, judge it, and move on. That's the best we can do. Sergeant, that does help. But murdering the chief, was that to help people too? It was. Once you learn the truth, you'll understand. Is there a single person in this world who deserves death? That's an interesting topic, but nothing we should be fretting about now. There's not a single person in this world who can truly hide a murder. That's the only important topic for the likes of us. But for now, just trust me and wait a second. When the time is right, I promise I'll tell you. Trust, affection, emotion, those turn logic itself illogical. The thought of losing one relationship is enough to send you down a path of no return. This is just a theory of mine. You can't mix people and reason. Filter all of those out. After all that, only logic should remain. Trust me, Note. You don't always have to focus on the truth. We're detectives, after all. The only thing we believe in is verified truth. Thus, the only thing I can truly say for certain is that the victim lived an additional 4 days. You will have to live with that in truth, too. This is not a pleasant ending. Could you stop talking, please? I just have one more question to ask. Have we ever truly met? We met. Last night, right here. That was me. That time alone, that was me. I can't believe you. We're detectives. Aren't detectives supposed to find out the truth? Indeed, and you found out the truth. Now to find the truth that lies beyond what you see. That's all I did. And in the end, John died. Note, you've dug up more in your 2 months here than anyone else in this city ever has. But all the truth you found, what did it bring? Note, you already know the answer. The truth is not necessarily noble or beneficial to anyone. The truth isn't always right. Some truths can hurt people. I idolized John because he was actually a weak person like me. Thus, his death. That's right. For us especially, many of the truths we seek are dangerous. That's why after we find them out, we have a choice to make. A choice. I'm not saying you shouldn't uncover the truth. I'm talking about the choice that exists on the other side of that truth. I want to become a person who handles the truths that are revealed in the correct way. In that way, the pain I felt, the pain we felt, doesn't have to be felt by everyone. The sergeant I know is who I think she is. She's more kind and caring than anyone I know, always looking out for those around her. And she's clever. I'm sure it isn't just trauma that's caused her to act like this. She probably thought about this again and again before reaching her current conclusion. In fact, the advice she threw out to those involved in those cases, even though it was based in lies, definitely would have saved those people. Compared to that, all I did was... Note, you can choose a different path. You may think these painful truths to be necessary in this world. If you choose that path, then clearly, it's going to make things better. Because you're better than everyone, you may be able to change something that I gave up on. However, I want you to walk together with me. You're the one who knows my pain. I want you to know. I want you to stay at my side. Note, take my hand. Okay. I'm gonna be honest here. I have issues with this kind of I don't know, it's like on one hand I do respect the idea of disobedience, of justice versus order, choosing to not send someone to jail when it's not going to fix anything, but I don't know, I feel like her whole line, maybe I'm just annoyed because it bugs me when detective games that are designed to give you a dopamine rush for solving these mysteries go, actually, solving mysteries bad, and truthfully, most of the ones that go this route, like, I know Raincoat had similar themes, and it did ultimately come to the decision that, like, figuring out these painful truths is generally better for everyone. But, so, like, I think ultimately, I think it's just, what are you even doing here? Like, it's not like you're going, oh, I'm going to free these people. Like with the first case, it's like she didn't go, oh, I'm going to try to stop this person from the person who committed murder against an abuser in largely self-defense, and then tried to cover it up in such a way that no one would get blamed for it. Like, it was one thing if she was like, oh, I'm going to help it make it look like a suicide, and then she just let her go. It's like, oh no, I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to make sure she gets turned into the regular police. Like turning her into the regular police is going to make the corrupt, evil government go, oh, whoops, yeah, sorry, that's out of our jurisdiction now. She's just in regular jail, so we can't illegally experiment on her. Like, if you hate the current system so much, do something to change it. Like, do something more than just being mildly non-useful. Like, I don't know, I just feel like she's just feels like a phony moral high ground to me. Like, she wants to have her cake of, like, oh, I'm doing something, I'm making a choice, I'm helping people, and then she's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just being dumb. Like, it is nice that she's doing something to help, it's just, like, I don't want to feel like I'm judging her for doing something small to help instead of, like, starting an armed revolution or something. It's like, I don't know, it just feels weird to me. I don't really gel with her motivations the way she explained them. Just... yeah, you know what, fuck you. Even in that situation, I hesitated to take her hand. Why, though? Is it because the truth is right and lies are wrong? Is it because it's set in stone? That's clearly not the case, and the past 2 months I've spent here prove that. It feels like the world around me is speaking to me. It's telling me the time to choose is here. It's telling me this choice will determine the path my life will fall. It's gonna make me take her hand, isn't it? Fuck you, game. However, if an instant's choice really determines all that, then does that mean everything I've done up to this point means nothing? I've changed since coming to the city. I'm certain of that much. I lost my ideals, and I found a goal. I lost justice, and I found people. I lost trust, and I found devotion. I lost faith, and I found hope. Every moment brought about a change in me. Sergeant, if I take your hand, will that change me? If we don't let go, will we not change? Maybe, but I think not. Note. Sergeant, I took your hand yesterday, but that wasn't some huge choice. It was just because I wanted to know more about you. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was the same at Trump Tower and the same at Woods, at the Miller residence, and yesterday when we visited the underground. I never made a single choice. I just found the truths that were hiding in each place. Each and every time, I simply found a truth lying beyond everything. I'm sorry. Asking me to join you as you reach your hand through the fog. Even now, I only see you in that fog. But past the fog, I think there exists something I sincerely wish for. Note, we've already seen through that fog. We know that the only thing at the end of it is regret. Yeah, you're right. So now, I want to see past those regrets. Why? Why try to go that far? Just take my hand and live for people, together. Now, that's enough. But there's a contradiction. Even though I know it'll only cause more suffering, even though I know I'll regret it, still, I want to know more about you. If there's something unclear, I want to find the answer. Because I'm a detective. Sergeant, are you any different? Why must you keep trying to move forward? Out of all the truths I've uncovered thus far, I can't point to a single good one. That's how it is now. The people change as they move forward. I knew nothing about this place and the people here, yet I became a person who could stand at your side. I became a person that Detectives Thena and Brian could rely on. I don't think the cases we solved are the end of this story. I'm sure there will exist something beyond that. And I want to keep moving forward to find out what that is. Also, even if I lose you now, I'll be able to find you one day. Then you knew. It's because before, when we were talking on the sports, I knew you were hiding behind the fog so I couldn't see your face. You used the dried flower, didn't you? I'm sorry. I wanted to meet you up here myself. But I already knew how things would turn out. Oh, hello, new follower! Welcome, welcome! You're coming in right at the end here. After all, never let me in. Okay, that's no offense, that's kind of giving bot vibes, but if you want to join the Discord, the link is in the About section. Sorry. No, I'm the only person who should be apologizing. I'm sorry I showed you nothing but lies at the very end. But I didn't want to get caught. The fog turned out to be too thin, and I've burned through all the cigarettes I had. Seriously, it was a dumb precaution to take. When it comes to hiding feelings, no one's got more confidence than me. Honestly, it's not even funny. Sergeant. We're not right for each other in the slightest. I know you wanted to hide your face, but what I'm seeing now is what I've been wandering around in search of. That's why I wanted to hide it even more. I knew you'd come looking for me. If you say you'll come looking, I figure I'll want to let you find me. But I don't want to have to rely on anyone else ever again. If I try to rely on you, you might leave me too. So, you have to run away from me. Because I'll always be one step quicker, and I'll catch up with you, Sergeant. The day will come when I catch you, and I hope you'll be there waiting. Right, you do that. It's always that way. You choose the paths I don't want to follow down. Always, always. Note, open the sewer drain under your foot. This is the music box. Of course, you had it the whole time. Inside, I placed the truth I needed to hide the most. Whenever you're ready, you can open it. Alright, we get a recording. See how this goes. Ooh, we got the murder. What do you think? It's recording now. Sounds handy. I can think of a number of uses depending on the situation. Yes, you're right. It took me a long time to figure out how it works, though. Indeed, certainly sounds like it would. The reaction feels a bit lackluster. Indeed, it is. Apologies. Well, that's understandable. Sergeant Redfins, you've been a great help through the years. One day, a lot of you did stop listening to me, though. It actually turned out to be quite helpful for me to get my messages across. Indeed. I'm sure life will get easier for you when you don't have me lurking around. There'll be no one like me ordering you about, but you won't be able to do whatever you please like before. You never know. I'll miss that cheeky attitude of yours, too. However, I do have one final request. Ask away. It's about Detective Case. You won't need him anymore. We succeeded as planned in getting him noticed by the cabinet secretary. Now it's time for them to trim their losses. But Notrick has become an integral part of our division. It's not a question of how useful he is to you lot. It's that I've got no more use for Detective Case. Thanks to him, I got my promotion. Case is now only a threat. Well, that's so curious he would give John Medan a run for his money. If If I left him where he was, he'd probably catch me by one or two of my tails. I'm finally out of the breeze, so I can't let that ankle biter be sniffing me out now. Speaking of which, do you have a good strategy moving forward? A good strategy? What do you mean? I mean, are you going to scare the lad off? That's one method. Or are you going to take a more heavy-handed approach? Tomorrow, it'll be goodbye to the ground level for me. Not in my nature to be leaving behind possible threats. Though some methods may be a bit too extreme. You have to? Notrick has already attracted the attention of the cabinet secretary. Do we really have to go that far? If you lot can't think of a good way, I'll just do it how I was planning tomorrow. What do you think? If your results are good enough, I might be able to return the favor. I can think of one good way. As expected from Sergeant Redfins, the ace up my sleeve. If you tie all this up with a pretty ribbon, I'll get rid of the files I've got stashed away. But I'd need to do a test run. Would it be alright if I borrowed a few pieces of the staff you have here? A staff? I just need two. Actually, I'll need this musical box too. My test run will take an hour, and then I'll give them right back. Alright, I mean, what's an hour? They're nothing but a nuisance to have around without being used. Well then, I'll be back at 8:30. And would you mind telling me your shoe size? I was thinking of getting you a farewell present. Oh, that's how she got the extra pair of shoes. Oh, sensible to the very end. The ones I've got on here, let's see, are 9.5. It's time to say goodbye, and I'm actually quite sad to be going. Indeed, now it's truly farewell. Sergeant, the reason you killed the chief, it was all because of me. Sergeant, why? Why would you hide this from me? If I had known, I could have... Bye, Note. For now, I can go no further. So, if the day does come for you to catch me, on that day, reach your hand out to me. Well, it's a little better than I expected as far as endings go, but still not totally happy with the way it seems to be going. We found you. Note, are you okay? Sarge, where'd she go? Detective Brian, Detective Thena, you were listening in. We were. Then the Sarge you met here. From the very beginning, she was talking through the sporks. The one up here was a replica made by the dried flower. Then it was all a pack of lies. Yep, everything I saw, everything I heard, everything I touched, it was all a fabrication. However, I think she left behind a little truth. You mean, the conversation recorded on the musical box? The fact that what the Sarge did was to save you. Right, so she wanted to hide it from me. The sergeant I trusted was contained in here. You think so? This at the very least, I won't let go of no matter what happens. Note, no matter what happens, never. Right. It certainly seems that way. Of course. Oh, wrong voice. I think. Because you, more than anyone, are a detective. Alright, 1 second. Alright, I think we're finally closing in on an ending, only 40 minutes past stream ending time. So, get your things out of here. Oh no, you can't really be disbanding our unit, can you? Wasn't the mood last night so nice at the end? Doesn't that call for a cancellation of this disbanding business? Such things aren't decided by mood. You found out the truth, but the culprit was the head of your division. Then your sergeant took flight and is now missing. If you think about it, things are worse now than ever before. You got me there. If you've come to an understanding, clear out quickly. From today, this office is to be the headquarters of the Bureau's football club. Why a football club? This is so disgraceful. It's like saying we're less productive than a football team. Don't discount our football club like that. We're really giving it our all out there. You remember too? Rats, what are Note and Brian up to at a time like this? Well, surprisingly, they might actually be doing something of importance. Is this the right way? It seems to be getting darker. Don't worry, this is just a corridor few people use. That explanation has me more worried. Now, would you please tell me who we're going to meet? Who's this person who called for me? I can tell you, but first and foremost, apologies are in order. Huh? Note, a certain topic of importance was brought up a number of times yesterday. Would you happen to remember that top-secret project? You're talking about Project Tetrapod? Of course, you must be part of that project, huh? Indeed, actually, you knew? It's just that there's been a lot of weight to your words these days. When I saw that folder yesterday, I had a thought. How did you simply have a thought in all that chaos? I mean, it is you, so I knew you'd figure it out on your own one day. 2 years ago, Madan, Chief of Operations back then, recommended me for the project. I guess keeping your word when someone asks for a favor helps with keeping secrets. The purpose of the Tetrapod project is to completely eliminate all mana. If the project were to succeed, it would eliminate the need for the Bureau and its control over phenomena. There are quite a number of employees within the Bureau who wouldn't find that idea pleasing. Thus, the project is kept confidential even from those within the Bureau. Are you okay with this? According to the sergeant yesterday, the project treats criminals in rather inhumane ways. Right, that's actually the reason why I participate in this project. With me directly involved with the project, I can participate in the experiments that may cross that line. I see. And why are you telling me all this all of a sudden? That's because you're not completely unrelated to the project. Cabinet Secretary. Are you the person who wanted to see me? That's right. I guess you weren't expecting me. What does he mean I'm not completely unrelated? Caucasus Brian, explain. Pardon me? Oh, alright. If he was just going to have Detective Brian explain, why make his appearance now? No, the purpose of the Tetrapod project is to combine various skills, forming one singular, powerful skill. We want to create one new skill, with the power to wipe mana from this world. Requiring the supply of staffers and staff to use it. Yeah, we went all over this yesterday, Brian, you fucking bootlicker. It's hard enough, but putting all those skills and mapping out how they fit together is the hardest task. All it would take is a single misstep to cause a huge incident. That's why the Cabinet Secretary needed a special person to be in charge of creating the blueprint of what that skill may look like moving forward. Then, the Chief of Investigations heard a noteworthy piece of news. In order to get noticed by the Cabinet Secretary, the Chief of Investigations had been scouting out the right person for the mapping role. So that's Sven. He happened to find someone. Not a staffer, but a superhuman in his own right due to his powers of logic and deduction. So that's you. Notrick case. Okay, I really don't like the direction this ending is going. I was like, oh, surely we're going to do something about, like, the horribly corrupt and discriminatory government. Nope, we're going head-on Project Erase All Magic. I have conditions. Of course we are. Note, were you not listening to my explanation? I heard you. You're saying you need my help with the project. Tell me. Pardon me? These conditions of yours, tell me. I'm really not following the two of you. I have 3 conditions. First is like Detective Brian said before. I want to be involved in handling the treatment of the staffers who use the project subjects. Alright, the only one with higher authority than you will be me. Next? Good, that was fast. I don't really want to work with the man, but we might be able to bounce some ideas off each other. The next is this. I was going to ask a favor from Chief Madan for this one, but I guess this is better. For what exactly? It's about the Bureau regulations regarding the staffer with the threat level Noah, Doug Touchstone. Doug's skill seems omnipotent at first glance, but his changes are limited to the creation of objects and entities. Based on that particular characteristic, I think it's possible to lower his threat to a controllable level. If you handle him how I've written out, he should be able to safely use his skill until he has it under control. If you're able to bring a Noah under your control, he may be a huge help to the project, don't you think? So you're asking me not to kill him? Note, when did you do all of this? You're getting sloppy. Controlling information he's exposed to and replanning his daily pattern. These are methods already implemented. Even with all of this, there's still a 0.1% chance of Zenoa becoming a threat, so it's safer to eliminate him. However, I am quite interested in this part about using him in conjunction with another skill to suppress the skill's use. That could help us acquire a large amount of data for the project. I'll delay the elimination of Zenoa by 10 days. We've got until then to write out a more detailed list of regulations for the subject. Okay. Quite splendid. As expected, Note, you're far from ordinary. And it was worth staying up 2 whole days to write that out. You all can pat yourselves on the back later. Our conversation isn't finished. What's your last condition? About that. Yeah, fuck this ending. I don't want to be... I guess it's fine. I guess I could probably do a little more good if I'm in charge of the evil human rights violating project. But... why? Why are we going this route? I don't want to be in charge of... I'm trying to figure out... I don't want to be in charge of, the human experimentation division. I don't want to do this. Oh, the piano. Just let the piano say. What? I'm getting all the voices confused because I'm so angry. Why does an Office of Investigators have a piano in it anyway? Hurry up and get rid of it. If that thing's there, we'll have nowhere to practice our dribbling. Why are you so serious about football? Note, what's going on in that head of yours? With my level of intelligence, I simply can't understand. In my opinion, I'm not quite sure either. No! No! What are we going to do? They've disbanded the division. About that. Just now, I had a talk with the Cabinet Secretary and advised him to cancel the dissolution of the Mana Affairs Division. Really? You're not lying. However, he rejected the proposal since it was already decided upon. Then you were lying, huh? But in its place, the Cabinet Secretary created a new division of investigations directly under his supervision. We'll all be transferring to the new Mana Affairs Division in the Investigations Department. Transferring? I mean, it's just a formality. We'll basically be doing exactly what we were doing before. There's only one additional rule. We have to directly respond to the beck and call of the Tetrapod project. Tetrapod? I heard a bit about it from Brian yesterday, but are we really going to be... so you're now an official member of the Tetrapod project too, Taylor. You may be called down to the underground from time to time. What? I guess it can't be helped. We'll all be working together though, right? That's right. All together. All of us. Whatever that means now. Everything turned out as expected. Of course, this alternative is far more realistic than taking Case alone. Indeed, things are how they are. We'll be looking forward to working with you, Chief. What? No, you can't be serious. Why are you so surprised? I assigned you the title of Chief of Investigations only yesterday. I thought all of that would go away because of everything that happened yesterday. I'm sorry, wrong voice, but whatever. As long as Case is the architect behind this project, we're going to need people watching him. You've got to stay on your toes and act swiftly. Indeed. Things happen fast around here. Stop complaining. Damn it all. Hey, I get to call you Chief again. Or shall we use this as my chance to call you Bernie? I said I'd kill you if you called me that again. I'll be counting on you, Chief. And on a personal note, I prefer you over our last Chief. I'm losing it. So, who's going to be the new Sergeant of the Division? Of course, that should be... Note! There really is no other choice. Huh? I mean, I've only got 2 months on the job now. Still, you're the only one I can think of for the position. After all, you created this division. What of it? Don't think of this as too heavy a burden. We've only got the 3 of us. Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm just powering through to the end because, I may not sound it, but I am very pissed about this ending. The 3 of us. Right, she's gone now. The title Sergeant. It still holds such a different feeling for me. I have no intent of carrying on what she was doing. However, I told her I'd keep moving forward. I'll do it. I'll take on the role of Sergeant. Go get him, Note. Because it's you. I'm sure you'll do great, Note. Alright, I'm still inexperienced, but I'll lead the investigations team from now on. I guess I've already been leading the investigations up to this point. So, no? I guess very little has actually changed then, huh? Yes! Funny you mentioned that. Very little has actually changed. You're still working for a corrupt government that oppresses magic users. And you're trying to do a genocide now via human experimentation. You're trying to just wipe out all the magic. Like, nothing's changed. You're still... What the fuck is wrong with you? If that's settled, let's get straight to work. From the look of it, you've had quite a lot of work piled up. That's because we were detained the whole day yesterday. It's to be expected. Speaking of which, there was a case I was supposed to solve by this morning. What? By this morning, you mean 10 a.m.? We don't even have an hour left. Let's head out. To the parking lot, everyone. Hey, John. In the end, I'm here too. Why didn't you hold out? I don't know! Maybe because he found out his brother was working... Fucking... I don't even have words for this at this point. I'm trying to avoid making a direct comparison to certain historical events, but... If you were still alive, one thing's for certain. As things stand, I'd be like family too. Every single one of you is going to hell. If there is one, but if there isn't, maybe Doug should make one for you. I know you did save his life, but what the fuck? Why would you be like this? Okay, so... Okay, so, you got... Oh good, it's still fucking going. After checking out the floor plan for the 4th floor of the London branch of the Bureau, one might notice a room that looks out of place. When one heads that direction, they might notice an iron gate that wasn't on the floor plan. A damp breeze slips in through the door frame. My luck is good today. The fog covers the view. When the fog clears, the horrid view furrows my brow into a disappointed frown. I can see that the clock tower of my dreams was never there. But when that nondescript landscape is covered from sight, a multitude of people could be down there. Yeah, people who are gonna get black-bagged and stuck on an operating table because of you. What the actual shit, Notrick? On those days, most of what came through the thick puffs of cigarette smoke were lies. But even if it was just a tiny sliver, the truth I wished for remained. Just as it does so clearly, somewhere beyond the fog. Actually, you know what? We should have taken... Should have taken Pandora's hand. Like, at least... Like, yeah, she was doing functionally nothing, but she was at least making a vague effort to do something about the situation. She was she was just... Was she, like, barely doing nothing to address any of the underlying problems and just lightly... like, bare minimum to feed her own ego and make herself feel like she was making a difference without having to actually take any risks? Yeah, of course she was there. But still, that's more than actively helping the bad guys. What the actual... I'm running out of expletives, Notrick. Like, you know, I made all those jokes about Athena being like a violent, crooked cop because I was like, yeah, it treats it as a character flaw at least. It's like yeah, Notrick's oddly, uncomfortably cool with it. It's like, yeah, that's just your walk of life, but I was like making fun of it, but... Hold on, I'm going to turn this down so I can rant over the game. I am cranking down that volume. Let me just put that down here for a second. Okay, so, where was I? Oh yeah, so they were, like, honestly, I made light of, like, Athena basically just being a dirty cop who kills people she thinks deserve to die, more than I probably should have, but yeah, like, Notrick was oddly cool with that. He's like, oh, that's just your walk of life. I've got no... Like, I'll try to stop you if it happens in front of me, but I'm not gonna judge you for it. And then, like... like, oh, so our choices in this matter are to either directly support the evil institution or do the literal bare minimum, not to hand them what they want on the silver platter, while also just not really doing anything about them. If only there was some third option we could take here. Like, it's not like in every single other big, like, detective game where there's, like, a corrupt government, like... Like, every single one of those ends with us doing something to improve the situation. Like, I was comparing it to Rain Code earlier, and, like, in Rain Code, it's, like, yeah, you figure out the big evil government conspiracies and you shut them down. Directly because of your actions, the guy who's, like, running the secret police is rotting in a jail cell by the end of the game, and, like, an entire horrific accident has been revealed. Like, Notrick would have been 100% on board with jumping on, like, Yomi Hellsmile's team. I could be like, well, Dad, the work he's doing here is important. You gotta keep everything under control here. But, okay, so that is... So, fuck that ending to the highest possible degree. I cannot believe I wasted 4 hours of my life on this because I thought it was going to end in a satisfying way. I thought it was building up to something good after that last chapter. Fuck this game, fuck this ending, and, okay, I'm gonna end it there. Thanks for the, probably, like, there's one person in chat who caught that, so, that's my, crash out for today, and, okay, so I am probably not gonna do another visual novel again for a while. Not because I didn't like this one, which I didn't like this one. Like, it was fun at parts, but I did not like the way it ended, and the route it wound up going with the story. I was, like, kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt throughout, and the ending was just, I hit my limit. Okay. But, yeah, seriously, I don't find visual novels as fun to stream. I think it's 90% just me. Unless something egregious like that ending happens, it's 99% just me reading all the text the characters are saying and not really properly reacting to anything. Like, so I don't think I'm going to do visual novels again for a long while. I'm going to focus on games that have more in the way of actual gameplay and try to do something that's a bit more enjoyable and brings a few more people in. That aside, okay, I'm angry now. That is a heck of a way to end the stream. But, thanks for, stopping in, everyone. Sorry for all the trouble there. But, okay. Hopefully we've got some better games lined up. Saturday, as mentioned, the Crow Country won the poll, so we're going to be diving into that. I've heard good things about that. That's a fun one. And, even if I'm, like, 90% sure at least one of the new followers is a bot, we did technically hit the milestone, so we're also going to be starting up My Friendly Neighborhood on Tuesdays, and that's not going to be a blind reaction, I'll admit, because I've already seen gameplay of the game, even if I've never actually played it myself. It's one I've always kind of wanted to play, and I thought it'd be fun to go through and try to get, like, the good ending, where you help everyone. Yeah, certainly I like the message of that game a lot better than this one. Like, that game actually had me tearing up at points just watching the footage of the one speech in the ending. But, that out of the way, let me just nudge the volume back up a bit. And, okay, I'm exhausted. Good night, everyone. See you on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Sorry about all of this. Bye! Jesus fucking Christ.